All right, guys, welcome to episode 200 of Open Your Toys Cast, the podcast dedicated to the four greatest action figure franchises of the 80s and all time. And those are Mrs. McFavorite.
Oh, I didn't know this was a pop quiz. That would be Star Wars, Transformers, Masters of the Universe, and G.I. Joe.
All right, we're going to yell at you already because your mic is rubbing on your hair or your clothes. Yeah, that makes for great audio, Sweets. Thanks.
Don't worry, I'll rub it on my face and we'll be even.
Yeah.
Beardies.
No, we won't, because I was rubbing it on my boobs.
Rock's got boobs.
I'm a fat guy. I got some boobs.
I'm
B
rocking
cups.
B cup. I'm not ashamed.
Full B's.
B cup brothers.
All right, do I need to say that again? Does everybody hear me?
No, you're great. We don't edit. This is live. People are watching. And
This
we
is
are live.
yeah. This is live on YouTube
Yeah,
right
and
now.
they're super pissed because my boobs are down there underneath this.
Spoiler, what I got in this week was a man's ear.
It's a bro.
Man's ear.
Yeah, I prefer the bro.
The bro.
The bros ear.
A man's ear.
All right, so I'm the only girl, and I'm going to make a lot of boob jokes and dick and fart jokes too. But anyway, moving on.
If you want to kick it with us, where we want you to do that is right here live every week on youtube.com/openyourtoys. You can get set reminders. You can watch us live. You can watch past episodes. You can watch videos of cons from like 10 years ago on here of all the new cool toys coming out back then. You can also join us on Facebook at facebook.com/group/openyourtoys. Or if you want to just keep up with the show itself, you can follow our page at facebook.com/openyourtoyscast. You can go to openyourtoys.com and see links to everything I'm talking about right now, as well as other shows. There you can find links to subscribe through iTunes, Google, RSS feeds, Stitcher Smart Radio. You can even email us at team@openyourtoys.com. And now, not that it was ever used very much, it's kind of passe, but hey, we got voicemail at 720-235-TOYS. That's 720-235-8697. And like I say, this is the momentous 200th episode of Open Your Toys Cast. That's right, we made it. And if you were if you were hoping to tune in to hear all the latest news, unfortunately, that won't be this show. This is going to be more of a discussion, a retrospective, a kind of a state of the union of collecting and just getting to know some of our hosts a little bit better. So let's just go around the horn here. Cliff, where can people find you, sir?
I'm on Instagram as Associate of Horror.
Nice. Mrs. McFavorite, with your mic not brushing up against your shirt, where can people find you? Please don't do that. It's not funny. It's very annoying to people listening to the audio version of it.
Okay, sorry. What am I supposed to answer?
Where can people find you?
Facebook.com/Jessica with one S Spiller. And
You're on the gram.
yeah, I'm on the gram. I honestly, y'all ain't gonna follow me. So hi, I'm Jessica Spiller. I used to be a hostess of the show, and now I'm just here to commemorate 200.
You were the hostess with the mostest.
I was the hostess with the mostest. And now I just take my microphone and do this.
Stop. Rock, where can people find you, sir?
You can find me on Facebook, Rock Mastrangelo. You can find me on the Open Your Toys group, and you can find me on YouTube, Rock the Farting Dad. Uploaded 2 new videos lately, so come check them out. The latest one's pretty good. Rock don't fart in the bends, so fart right in my son's face. You guys might enjoy that. So check it out, Rock the Farting Dad on YouTube.
All right. What about you, Lotus? Where can people find you?
Awesome.
They can head over to YouTube and type in Lotus Stark and watch videos of me repairing some vintage robots.
Yeah,
or
and
sewing some clothes.
I was going to say, go ahead, sweetie.
And can I note, he won't read you a bedtime story.
No.
He just won't.
Yeah, he's that kind of guy. No bedtime stories from Mr. Stark. Yeah. All right, I think you're going to need to mute yourself when you're not talking, beautiful. We're still getting some.
What?
Okay, Jason, I'll mute myself.
What? Okay, sorry. I'm the chaos. I'll shut it off. Sorry.
AAA, what about you, sir?
Good evening, everybody. You can find me at facebook.com/aliasangel. Lately, I've been posting a lot of G.I. Joe classified stuff, and go there and take a look.
Yeah, you're somewhat addicted to those classified figures. I've seen you begging on the groups.
Yes.
All right. And you can find me at facebook.com/openyourtoys or on Instagram at slickmcfavorite, as well as emailing me at slick@openyourtoys.com. All right. Okay. Well, hopefully I know at least one other person's drinking. That's for sure on this podcast. But Cliff, what do you got to drink there, buddy?
I got some ice cold water, and I'm classing it up with some Crystal Light tonight.
Oh, you're just so do you just do the Crystal Light for the show? Do you save it for the show, or now are you becoming addicted to it?
I may be becoming addicted to it. I think I had 3 or 4 yesterday. It's 5 calories, man. It's delicious.
You're like, I could drink this all day, put no dent into my calorie count. Right on. Mrs. McFavorite, what are you drinking, ma'am? And don't forget you're muted. Really? Oh my god.
So I am drinking McCormick's, and this was like, I need to get above the $5 credit card limit. Mike's Harder Mango Lemonade.
Oh, nice. What percentage are you rocking on that Harder Mango?
8%, motherfucker.
Wow.
This should be pretty fun after the show. Fun, Mrs. McFavorite.
No, it's tomorrow morning when I'm trying to work is when it's going to suck the most.
All right, Rock, you drinking anything fun over there?
Oh, yeah, brother. I'm drinking a Long Island iced tea out of a vintage Hulkamania glass, brother. I love these pre-made Long Island iced teas. The drink of my people. The drink of my people from Long Island.
Are those TGI Fridays pre-mades?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
No,
so good.
It's Captain Morgan. It's Captain Morgan.
Oh, Captain Morgan? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, the captain.
The drink of my peoples.
I was going to actually ask that when you said it. I was going to ask, do people on Long Island actually drink Long Island?
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
okay.
They're delicious, and they're pure booze. Everyone everywhere drinks them.
Well, the thing is, like, if you're going to drink something alcoholic, you might as well get the most bang for your money. Because if you get a gin and tonic or a sea breeze, it's the same price as a Long Island iced tea. Why not get one with 5 shots of liquor compared to one with 1 shot? Right? That's
true.
fat man rockonomics. Extreme couponing when you're drinking.
I love it. I'm cheap at the bar too, Rock. I feel you.
Oh, best bang for your buck.
All right, Lotus, come on, 200th episode. I know you got this.
Water. That's it. I actually retired the. I did retire the Bubba keg, so the Bubba keg has gone in the trash, and I have purchased a new vacuum sealed 64-ounce container. I'm not really too happy with it, but Bubba keg is in the trash at this point, so no more Bubba keg.
God damn it. Please read me a bedtime story. Your voice is just like so awesome.
So what disappoints you about your new vacuum sealed 64-ounce container?
So I need to do a little research on this because for some reason I'm not able to form ice inside of it. So if I fill it up halfway, I can like it forms like an ice layer, but it doesn't actually solidify.
Well, yeah, because it's vacuum sealed. It doesn't.
No. I leave the top open. It has a like a wide mouth, and I leave the top open. And I put it in the freezer overnight. And basically, maybe out of, let's say there's 5 inches of water, probably about maybe like the first 2 inches actually form into an ice block, and then it's just water underneath. So something to do with the actual container itself. So I'll have to figure that out.
And just for the hell of it, why don't you just put ice in it now that it's a vacuum sealed container?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I could do it that way, but I've just always, like I said, I've always just filled it halfway with water, and the next morning that thing turns into a chunk of ice, and then I put water on top of it, and I'm good to go.
I feel you. Old habits are hard to break. We'll be talking about that as well. But yeah, I coming from where you were and where I am now with vacuum sealed, yeah, just fill it up with water, throw like 6 ice cubes in it, and you're good for 24 hours. So, AAA. Come on, you got some green. You got some green tea. You got some crazy.
Well, actually, I got some retro pop, which is Sprite. I mean, who drinks Sprite these days anymore, right?
This is true.
Too much sugar for the upset tummy.
Yeah, right. So celebrate with Sprite, retro style. Yeah.
All right. And we want to welcome Cass. He's up in here, just representing here. He remembers listening to the podcast when it's just Slick and the Missus and I. So welcome back. I thought about trying to bust out the whole like recording setup we did back in the day, and yeah, I just got too lazy. Plus, I figured it'd be better if Mrs. McFavor and I were not in the same room together. Plus, our daughter has a fort that's occupying our entire living room, which is where we used to record. So, all right. Well, like I say, I'm gonna share this screen just so people can start getting an idea of what we're going to talk about, because I didn't post these at all. But yeah, I was going to just kind of do a discussion show. Oh, wrong thing.
I'm raising my hand.
Go for it, bro.
Is there a way to see that larger?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Well, no. There's not like a share my screen.
What do you mean?
What you're doing right now?
Can you not see what we're going to talk about?
I can, but really, that's small. Okay, all right.
And just to let you know, Jessica, it's your fan. It's not your hair. It's just your fan. That's all it is.
Oh, does she have the fan going?
Yeah, it's the fan. It has nothing to do with the hair. So.
Oh my! So you can hear my fan. Okay.
Yeah. It's been the fan the whole time. It has nothing to do with your hair. So.
That's our eagle-eared host there.
Wow.
The only man I trust with testing out audio quality of things.
And I still have to mother.
And if you're trying to blow up your screen, that all that's going to do is make the show screen smaller, which I just realized.
Okay.
But anywho, so like I say, 200th fucking episode. This is absolutely insane. I never thought we would get here. Now you want to talk about how long we've actually been doing this. That's considerably different. I actually had to go to our website and look, and I did a Hello World post on August 4th. We're recording this on August 2nd. We're recording this on August 2nd. So we are literally, and let me see if I can bring this up here. We are literally almost 12 years from the point that I said, hey, Open Your Toys cast is going to be coming. It'll be on this website. It was kind of crazy what went into that. So again, you can go to openyourtoys.com, go to the top of the page, and look at all these ridiculous episodes. So here we go. Hello World right down there, August 4th, 2008. Oh, whoa. I also thought it was going to be a blog where I talked about toys, but that quickly went out the window. But we say, welcome to Open Your Toys over the next month or so. This will become the home of Open Your Toys cast, as well as your source for Star Wars, G.I. Joe, Transformers, and Masters of the Universe action figure fun. So crazy. And then as we get past these first blogs I did, the first episode 000, was published on October 7th. So that's what I consider our actual anniversary. But it's kind of crazy that 12 years ago, man, that I did that first post, decided to do this. And really this came about. I was so I guess my intro into podcasting came about in 2006 when Mrs. McFavor and I got married for a lark. We just put iPods on our registry, and if you remember back then, iPods were like $400 or something. I mean, they were ridiculous, and these were standalone things. Hi.
Our child is making me drink. Hey guys. Mwah. Here. Cheers.
Oh, where did I don't
All right,
know
cheers.
where I put mine. Cheers. Oh, here we go. Cheers.
Sorry guys. Child is pissing me off.
Already. We're only 18 minutes in.
Mm-hmm.
Told our child, please be quiet for 2 hours, and that's how long she made it. And so that's kind of how my whole podcast thing started. And what was really crazy is that's what started. I had been collecting toys, but not, just going to Walmart and buying stuff as I saw it. Like I had some RID stuff. I had, the first time I saw the Bruticus or whatever they call it, the RID version of them, I was like, oh shit, there's toys that I had when I was a kid. I started adding podcasts. So I listened to a few tech podcasts and then found some toy podcasts. And I was just like, holy shit, here's a whole show about collecting toys. One of my favorite podcasts at the time was Star Wars Action News, put on by Arnie Cavallo and his wife Marjorie. Really dug them. I love that they would play voicemails from fans, all that kind of stuff, and just really got into the whole collecting scene, in general. And it was one of those things where got introduced to exclusives and conventions, and that's where I was kind of hooked. That's where it gave me that little dopamine push, was getting those exclusives and getting hard to find shit. And so in 2008, we, Mrs. McFavor and I went to San Diego Comic-Con and got a chance to meet Arnie. I had done a few voicemails on his podcast previously, and so we were excited to meet him. It was during the Clone Wars toy drop for the original movie, so not even the TV show, for the original movie in 2008 in San Diego. We went to this Toys R Us, probably 30 minutes away from the convention center, but this was going to be where Steve Sansweet was and all this kind of stuff. So it was a big event that was kind of loosely organized. So we got up there, we waited in line.
It was loosely organized? I thought it was...
Well, I mean, they made an announcement, but that's pretty much all it was, you know. So we're waiting in line and we see him, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to go talk to him and shit like that. I went in and talked to him, and they just kind of brushed me off. I was like, you've played a couple of my voicemails, man. I've been listening to you for like 2 years now. Oh my God, it's so amazing. And they're just like, yeah, thanks, and walked off.
He got Seth Greened.
And people that have listened to the show since the beginning know what that means. But so it was super disheartening. Now in hindsight, I realize they were trying to do a job, you know, like they've always looked at this as kind of a job, and good on them. They've put on you know, at least the last few years, they put on a very regular show. They're very active in the community, lots of videos, lots of episodes, that kind of thing. But at the time I was just like, wow, what the fuck, man? And that was something like early July or something. And or not early July, sorry, late July. And
somebody was about to say something. Sorry, what?
What?
I
love having you on, babe. It's amazing.
Does anybody miss me on this podcast or what?
Everybody misses you.
No, you don't.
You know I do.
So it was that moment that I was like, fuck this. We're going to make our own podcast. And so it's kind of crazy that, you know, a week later I got back, I launched the site. I put up that first post saying, hey, coming soon. And then 2 months later, Mrs. McFavorite and I recorded our first episode. So we continued on. And again, you got to, like, for people that are listening to this for posterity, you got to remember, I mean, there were 12 toy podcasts out there. I mean, right now, I can't even imagine how many there are. You know, not a lot of them get a lot of news unless they're a podcast put on by one of the big fan sites, or at least, you know, they're members of one of the big fan sites, and they'll promote them and stuff like that. But I mean, right now, like I said, toy reviews didn't exist back then, as far as I knew. You know, maybe they did, and I just wasn't aware of them. But yeah, it was pretty crazy that we were in the kind of wild, wild west, and it just was lucky that I was a web designer at the time. And so I kind of could do all this stuff by myself. There was no such thing as Podbean and all these sites and StreamYard. Somebody asked me this weekend, how do I do my own podcast? I'm like, dude, StreamYard, boom, done. You know, just fucking sign up on YouTube, set up StreamYard, and then fucking record yourself. I mean, it is insanely easy nowadays. But we just had a blast up to when we got to episode 50. Mrs. McFavorite and I did not a live, but we did recorded a video podcast. So we have some outtakes from the beginning while we're taking our shots and stuff like that. But you can see our old recording setup and all that kind of stuff. You can see us actually recording that episode 50. And I thought that was really fun. And then something I'm remiss in looking up, but somewhere around 70 or episode 80 is when we got pregnant, or I shouldn't say when Miss McFavorite got pregnant with my help. Yeah, pop that collar. And then we kind of disappeared for a while and tried to bring it back. And Miss McFavorite was just not digging having a newborn, trying to record. We're talking about even back then we were recording. It was taking 3 hours to record a show. So with a newborn, that was a little rough, and she decided to drop off. In addition, there was some arguments about my collecting it, in that first 6 to 7 years or whatever, it really got out of hand because I thought I was going to open a toy store. That was my big thing. I was like, I'm going to open a toy store. I will have a brick and mortar. I'll take care of our daughter at the store. I'll be doing mail order and all this kind of stuff. And then, like I say, we started this show right as the economic recession hit of 2008. And collecting just took a nosedive over the next fucking 2 to 5 years. I mean, it was insane how the bottom dropped out and everything. I mean, back then you could get vintage deals like no one could ever imagine, And so that kind of shot my dream of owning a toy store where I mean, I was realistic. I was like, most of my shit's going to be mail order. Most of it's going to be eBay, that kind of shit. But 3 to 4 years into that recession, it's like, oh, okay, there's, I got my business license. I got wholesale accounts. And it's like, oh, you mean you make 25 cents on each Star Wars figure you sell, unless you're selling 1,000 or more. And it just kind of disheartened me. Meanwhile, I had just been ordering cases and cases of stuff. So if you're interested in collectibles from 2007 to 2010, hold on to your fucking britches over the next year. I'm going to be breaking into my storage and finding case fresh shit from back then that, I mean, luckily now shit that was going for $20 back then is going for $200 now, depending on what it is and how hard it was to find. So, but when Mrs. McFavorite dipped, then I opened it up to be kind of a round table of sorts and brought in some of my closest friends to be experts in their field. And that was great for a while. I mean, we had Vern and people helped me here. We had Vern on as Masters of the Universe. We had Swage on as Transformers. We had Dave on as the Star Wars guy.
Who's the guy from Canada with all the G.I. Joe stuff?
And then Roger, Roger yes. Was and he was saying he was going to join us here. I should actually look at my Facebook and see if he's messaged me or anything here, because he said he was going to be on. Oh shit, he says he's on. He says I'm on. Hold on, everybody. I'm sure he's like, what the fuck, dude? You begged me to be on this show, and then
too slick. Thank you for not inviting me. Blocked. Is that what it says? I'm looking.
No. Is anybody seeing the screen flicker?
No.
In the show?
No.
Okay, good. That's just me then.
Yeah, because you didn't invite somebody on here. So it's all, fuck you. Flicker, flicker. Fuck you.
It's
Flicker, flicker.
probably easier just to paste the StreamYard link directly to Roger. That might help him too.
No, that's it. I just did that.
Oh, okay, cool.
Who else is
Oh, he's on Skype. Oh, because he doesn't pay attention to our host thing. Okay, so let me I'll get him on. But so we kept it kind of a tight-knit group of people representing different things, and then we started losing hosts. I mean, people just straight up quit collecting. Roger quit collecting, Vern quit collecting. And then one of the mainstays that had been around since those early post Mrs. McFavorite years was Lotus. And he's really what kept me honest in all of this, man. I mean, Miss McFavorite and I, we would take weeks off at a time. I would take 2 weeks to post an episode. I mean, it got crazy. Vern really helped with the editing. He was editing all the shows, and I would still take a long time to post them. And then when Lotus got on, he was kind of that calming factor I needed to kind of do the show right and do it consistent. So Lotus, while I do this stuff with Roger, you want to kind of talk about how you came on, your first impressions, what the show was like back then?
Sure. Yeah. So, so I don't know. I don't even know what year it was either. Was it maybe 2014? Maybe? I don't know. 2015?
I should have done a little bit more research.
I don't remember. I don't remember how long I did. But yeah, I mean, I was just a fan. I mean, I was before Jason allowed me on the show. I was literally just a fan, and I was collecting hardcore. I mean, I was collecting all kinds of stuff.
And you wanted to have your voice and wanted to talk about what you were doing?
No. I mean, what it was is it was just there was a lot of interaction between myself and posting comments, in relation to the show, and just continuously just providing feedback and stuff like that. So, and then eventually, Jason just asked me, he's like, hey, would you be interested in joining the cast? I'm like, yeah, let's try it out. Let's see if this works. And that's kind of how it all started. So I don't know. I definitely was a fan, like literally probably maybe even like 2010, I would say. So that wasn't the time that I joined the show. That was just when I was, constantly commenting and all that. And, that's Jason makes a good point, because the truth is when you're collecting, you want to be in that moment. You want to comment on everything. You want to be part of that community. But then once you stop collecting or you slow down in collecting, it does become harder to keep yourself engaged. So, I mean, I'm going to be totally honest and transparent. Obviously, anyone who's been listening to the show, I have been kind of veering off of collecting. I've just collected so many different things that I'm just kind of like, okay, I've checked my box there, I've done everything. So, yeah, I don't know. So I don't want to say that, for the prior hosts that have left the show, I don't want to say that there's really anything wrong with that. I think, we all change. I always call it a collecting journey, that we're all on this collecting journey throughout our lifetimes. It's a fun hobby, and we all have different things of how we collect and how we display stuff, and everything. It just all comes down to collecting. I think all of us are all, we will always be collectors at heart. So it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't have to matter if you're a prior host or if you're a super fan or whatever. You're always going to be a collector at heart, no matter what. So even if you don't walk into Target and Walmart and purchase those things, any of the toys that are there, or gadgets or whatever it is, you're still going to have that collecting bug. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, Jason. I guess I was just, like I said, I was just like I I don't want to call. I mean, I don't want to say I'm a super fan, but I was just very interactive with the show before I joined. So, but yeah, that's yeah. I don't want to go on about it, but that's basically about it.
No, and that's awesome, man. And AAA, what are your memories of the good old times?
Actually, what you mentioned about Star Wars Action News with Artie and what's his wife's name?
Marjorie.
Marjorie, that's right. Yeah. I found their show first actually too. And they were the only community that's out there, husband and wife talking about toys. They're very professional at it. They don't overstep each other. They don't. It seems so edited, and it's very refined. And I really enjoy the show. And I did went into a convention, a celebration, and met them in person. So Jason, you're not alone. This is the first time I met them. They were very close. They're very close off to their fans, actually, a little bit. I do see that they're working with the equipments and everything. So don't feel like they were trying to avoid you. I think it's like you said earlier too that they were trying to put show together for one of the booth that they're doing. So, but Marjorie was actually pretty nice at the time when I was telling her that I was a big fan, and she, I listened to all their shows for quite a long time, and I really appreciate it. And but I know Arnie was he was nowhere near to say anything. I wouldn't say that he brushed me off, so but don't take it too hard. So Jason.
Hey,
And
sweetie, can you mute yourself while you change your headphones?
I literally just sat down. I'm sorry.
No, you're
Pause
cool.
it.
it's okay. And then I went on and tried to look for another toy podcast, and then I found you guys, Jason, Jessica, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool. They got great personality, and their voice is like, I call it radio personality, and they talk about toys." And I was just so I don't know. I keep appraising them, like how their voices are so great, and it's not so like Artie and Marjorie. They're too professional. It's like they just you guys knew how to relax and talk about things, and it just I love that whole interaction. And even though if Jessica doesn't know some of these toy stuff, it's like cracks me up. It's even better when she does it because then Jason is teaching her. So and I feel like I'm living you, Jason. It's like I wasn't dating anybody at the time. Like I want to be that guy if I met somebody where to like I'm teaching her like okay this is like Destro, he's like from the Cobra organization, things like that, just teaching my partner with toys, and then go on that kind of journey of collecting, and so yeah, I always write to the show a lot. If I miss it is because I have things planned, or I have I'm waiting for something. I'm thinking of something really good to ask. So, and I was so I wanted to call one time, but then I never had the guts to. I'm kind of shy because my English is not very good. It's my second language, and I did a YouTube show, and I would get comments of people's like yelling at me where go learn English or something, where you have terrible grammars, and it really puts me down. My put my heart down from
It should
reading
never
those.
ever put your heart down because you are able to speak multiple languages, and that means more than anyone who is a keyboard internet bullshit warrior. That really pisses me off when, to even hear that.
Yeah, I agree. Let's hear him speak Chinese. Let's see how well they do with that.
I was putting my hand up because all I have to say is that it was a privilege to meet you in person, and I enjoyed every moment being around you. And then
it's a lot of fun. I'm so happy to finally meet you guys in Colorado, and it was
and it was
well planned.
it was
I did a cross state to state traveling over to the west coast to the central of America, and I tried to get to meet people that I met online but never in person. And out of the 3 people I'm trying to gather with, you're the only one that made it through. So the other 2 just either something happened or we just couldn't meet up. So I was very, very happy and very cherished. I look at those photos, like I keep it on my computer, on my desk where the folder is really easy to access. Look at that. That was so cool. I meet Jason and Jeff.
It was so fun having dinner with you. I remember going down there and I'm like, really? We're coming down here? And he's like, that's where he's staying. It was so fun. And
I'm just a fan.
It was such a privilege to spend the night.
Yeah, it's very different dynamic.
Don't blow this up. It was so fun spending the night with you.
I think we're forgetting.
Did everybody
one
else
thing.
laugh?
Yeah.
I think we're actually forgetting one thing here. Peter, isn't that wasn't that the time that you actually won something from Jason?
Yes, there was a time I finally built up the courage because there's a contest involved. I was like, okay, so let me just I can't call in because I just don't know what to say sometimes. So I might just brain fart, and okay, let me just script this thing out. Okay, what do I want to say? So then I did an audio file and sent an MP3 file to Jason. So Jason has to go to his little hat and pick a winner, and I was so surprised I got picked. I was like, oh my god, he's gonna be the savior because I need to get the Metroplex. There's no other way I can get this toy because this is the biggest Transformer SDCC has, and this is a character. It's my back from my childhood. He's the biggest Transformer I had when I was a kid too, and it means so much to me to have Metroplex. And he has the cool guy too. So.
I'm sure they know how big he is since they had to mule him around SDCC. That's all I could think about. Like when you won that contest, that's all I can think about is like this huge mammoth box like on the back of Jason or Jessica's back. I'm just like, what the heck?
Well, and I was lucky.
And I'd still be fighting there with the. I don't know. Never mind. Sorry.
I thought the contest was somebody you'll pick it up for them. They pay for the item up front, but you'll ship it free.
Yes, that's what it was.
Okay.
So yeah, let me tell you, that was.
But Jessica had to sit there and be like, "Fuck you, security." I'm off of that shit.
And I also think on that episode, I kind of remember it. Didn't you guys have water bottles with vodka in it or something?
Oh yeah. Oh, that's how we do. That's how we do everything.
That's any con.
Or going to the movies or the supermarket.
But no, it was.
Maybe not the supermarket, Jason.
What?
Yeah.
I really appreciate the both of you. That is a heck of a toy. Yeah, I love it. It will always stay with me. I just get buried with it. That's it. I love that thing, and it's one of my favorite characters. So I really appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, that was a little backfire on my part because the shipping on that shit was $67. I thought, I got to ship something. We'll pay like $10 for that promotion, But no, I'm glad you won AAA, and I'm glad it's something that you really appreciate and not just something that somebody scalped, later on. Okay, I got to cut in right now. We got Roger in here. Let me add him up in this piece. What?
You've had it in the holding this long?
Oh,
there's a maximum.
The new thing said we could have 10 people, and now it's saying we can only have 6. What the fuck?
All right, peace out.
So it's giving you
no. Hey, Jessica, why don't you come in here? Yeah. Oh my God, I could have swore.
No, I don't want to be in your. I can't even handle your office. No.
All right. Let me. Okay.
10.
Let me, Mom. I'll Mom.
I'm gonna boot you, but I'll bring you back in. Okay, babe.
Peace out.
Bye.
Oh, I'm so angry.
Yes,
What up, Mr. Roger?
Hey guys, what's up, man?
Hey, we can hear you beautifully.
Perfect.
So I could have swore I saw something from StreamYard that said 10 people could be on, even on the free plan, and it's only 6. So we just booted Mrs. McFavorite for you to come on.
Yeah, I saw that. When I logged in, it said 10 people. So.
Oh, and I think that's the viewing. Oh, really?
Yeah.
So yours said 10 people. Oh, let's see. All right, this pissed me off. But hey, we're glad you're on, Roger. Sorry, I didn't even think about the Skype versus the way we do it now. We were literally just talking about AAA and how he kind of got involved with the podcast. We went through how Lotus got involved with the podcast. Do you want to kind of just give us a brief description of how you got involved, how you started listening, and then we're on the show, and then we'll kind of get to what's going on now and how things have changed in a little bit.
How did I find your show? I think I found it through because I had my own show at one point.
Yeah.
Guys with Toys, and you and Mrs. McFavorite came on. And,
Roger, who was your co-host with that show? I remember that podcast, but I can't remember.
It was Dave, and he was like
Flag Points, Dave.
No, he was a friend of mine that lives out here with me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
I do remember listening to that though.
Yeah. Good. And he was he lives in Vancouver now, which is across the water from where I am. And we just could never seem to get to link up the same amount of time at the right time. So it just it was more or less just me doing it at one point and other guests. I want to say Flag Point. No, I can't. Yeah, I can't remember the podcast I was listening to where Open Your Toys was on, and then. As I joined the community with podcasting, I reached out to Slick, and we did that episode together with your wife, which was like a 4-hour podcast.
Yeah.
And then I had to put mine down for forever, I guess. And then maybe a year or two later, I had gotten contact with Slick, and he asked me to go out on his show, and then I did a bunch of shows with him, and then everything just got chaotic, and then life moved on.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, that's been the big thing, right? Is like life's major changes has been what's changed this podcast Mrs. McFavor and I moved on from a 2-person show because we had a kid. Roger had some major issues in his life, and that's what made him move on, so it's kind of crazy, especially when you're talking over a 12-year period, what things can change, how your mentality can change, how your collecting changes, how your collecting ends, that kind of shit. Rock, you were probably the next host on. So what?
No, Vern.
Well,
Swage, Vern.
The next host that actually chose to join us. And I know Swage really wanted to be on today, and he has to work, unfortunately. So, but you were the next one, at least that's present, that was on the show. What's kind of your memories, your thoughts?
I kind of found you guys pretty early on. I got an iPod Touch as my first Father's Day gift. So that was like June of 2009. So once I found like Joe Rogan, Adam Carolla, Mark Maron, like the big guys early, then I started finding the Star Joes. And that's how I found you guys, because I think they listen to you. And then once I found Star Wars and other toy podcasts, it just went from there. But I've been listening, I wouldn't say from day one, but probably the first year is when I started. Because I remember that contest vividly that Dr. Peter won. So, but hey, Roger, since I've never really got a chance to talk to you ever, do you still collect, or did you sell your collection?
Oh boy. Do you want to hear that tragic story?
Yeah, I do, because you were a humongous G.I. Joe collector only. And everything had to be like mint on card, mint and sealed box, right?
Yeah, so I had like a pretty extensive in-box collection, mint on card figures from 81 going all the way through until, I don't know, when did they stop doing it? 2006, 17?
Okay.
18?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so I decided that I like building muscle cars and mini trucks.
Ah, look at that, Lotus.
Really? Oh shit!
Mini Truck Brothers.
So,
So
my
did you
collection.
Oh, that's a whole other conversation that we need to talk about.
Yeah, for sure. So I did sell most of it off. I'll be honest with you, I'm probably down to 20% of my 100% collection. And I also had like Turtles. I had like lots of 80s stuff. Like G.I. Joe was my main core, but I had Transformers, Turtles, Batman, all the Kenner stuff, Brave Star, like all the big names, He-Man, all that stuff. And I just got to the point where I just had too much, and it was just got to like it would give me anxiety about how much stuff I had.
And when you sold it, did you sell it all in one lot, or did you just like piece it out over time?
I pieced it out over time, so I'd probably been selling it for about 3 years now.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I made a lot of money on that, though.
Oh, I'm sure you did.
Yeah.
And Roger spent. I mean, we had like 4 a.m. nights and stuff. I bought a huge collection off of some guy. Unlike the one I paid $2,500 for recently, I bought a collection off of a guy where literally and I feel awful about this, but he probably broke even on shipping, and that's it. I bought a G.I. Joe collection for like $400. And it was just insane. And it was a bunch of 87 and on stuff that Roger just helped me.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
What do you think? Like probably fucking 30 hours or something?
Yeah, about that. Yeah, we did a few days, long days.
It was just Skype, and I would just show him something, and he'd be like, oh, yeah, that's this. And it should have this weapon. And look on Yojo for this. And that kind of shit. And so, I mean, his breadth of knowledge of G.I. Joe was insane.
But just as I'm getting out, I see Hasbro's re-released the 6-inch line, trying to suck me right but the fuck back in.
Yeah, Roger hit me up like, "Are you getting these? Do you have these?" And I was like, "Okay, what are you looking for?" He's like, "All of it." All right, Cliff, you're probably the most recent, consistent, contributor on the podcast. But you've been there. God, I mean, I remember your sobriety posts from fucking way. I mean, because you're in double digits now, right?
Yeah,
Coming
up on 12 in November.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think I remember seeing posts from you like year 3 or something, and just being like, "Wow, I couldn't even imagine." What are some of your thoughts, your remembrances?
Well, I think I've told you the story before. I was looking for podcasts about mask, and stumbled on a website or a podcast called Obscurities. And you and Mrs. McFavorite were the host.
Yeah.
Or the co-hosts, or the guests, I guess.
Yeah,
and that led me to your show.
80s, yeah.
And that led me to your show, and it was pretty early in your stuff. And I remember because I was listening, and I subscribed and became a regular listener. And you spent like 3 episodes, like 20 minutes in each episode, begging the listeners to find you this Transformer that you couldn't find. And so I was going to Toys R Us like 2-3 times a week, and I found it. And I reached out to you. It was the first time I reached out to you. And I was like, "Dude, I got this Transformer for you." And you were like, "Oh, yeah. I found that." So I ended up going to return it and stuff. But that's kind of what started me and you talking on Facebook. And I've been following the podcast ever since, keeping in touch with you pretty much the whole time. I also won one of those SDCC contests. I had to check because I don't remember. It was 2011. And you got me the Indiana Jones Lost Wave.
Oh, yeah.
And the Battle Armor Faker versus Bizarro Masters DCUC 2-pack. Back then. And I begged you.
That 2-pack.
I begged you to open them.
That Lost Wave, I can't believe how long ago that is. I remember buying that at a toy show. And I can't like that box was huge. It was like 6 figures.
Yeah.
It was two side by side, 3 long. Yeah. That's an awkward shaped box to ship too.
And I kept sending him messages. I'm like, "Slick, I'm a loose collector. Open them shits. Put them in plastic baggies and just mail me the baggies." And he's like, "I can't do it. It's too beautiful. I have to send it to you intact." And I was like, "Slick, I'm going to tear it open the minute you get it. Don't waste money." He's like, I got to do it, man. You got to be the one who opens it. So
really, he wouldn't open anything?
No, he wouldn't open it for me because he said the package was too good.
He would grind me nonstop about the fact I opened nothing and kept everything in package.
Well, it's the experience.
That's me too.
Yeah.
It's the experience. Like, I wanted him to have that joy of busting like that. Again, SDCC or convention packaging in general, it's just gorgeous. Like, I'm the same way. I don't tear my shit open. I carefully cut tape and X-Acto bubbles off and shit like that. But it's seeing the original presentation that matters, in my opinion.
I open my toys with dull razor blades.
Yeah, he does the dollar store,
especially when they're vintage figures
for $1. Oh my god, when you open those GoBots with those things, I'm like, ah!
Yeah, you were so you actually sent me an X-Acto knife as a gift.
Speaking about hate mail, what was the percentage of hate messages you got on opening those vintage carded GoBots?
Yeah, unfortunately, there's a lot of hate out there. People saying that you're opening, something that's one less sealed GoBot that's on the market, blah blah blah. But it's in the past. It's okay.
It's the internet. I mean,
yeah, it's the internet.
Did you
could say,
at least I'm wearing fucking gloves.
I'm wearing. I still didn't touch them. I still have never touched those GoBots. So,
if you made a Facebook post that said, "I found the cure for cancer," somebody would write, "But what about rheumatoid arthritis?" You know what I mean? You're still the asshole. So it doesn't matter. That's the internet. It doesn't matter what you did, and no matter how good it is, somebody's gonna bitch about it.
All right. Just because for some reason, sorry, does someone want to say something?
Well, I was just gonna say something. You know, we were talking about, you know, kind of the shows that we used to watch or listen to, but right around the same time that I started listening to Open Your Toys, I was also, I believe I started just listening to Toy Break, and then they moved it to a video show. But Toy Break was really fun. And then I learned later on that George and Aileen were actually friends of Jason and Jessica. So that was very, very cool as well.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
That's
so definitely I was sad to see, you know, that, you know, them not do that show anymore. But yeah, that went on for years, and that was a excellent show. So I don't know if anyone else on the panel has, you know, watched Toy Break, but it was great. Like, I even loved when they, you know, opened up their blind, you know, I forgot, what was it, Jason? It was a special little segment. They called it, they named it something.
Yeah.
And they had great editing too. Like, their video was awesome.
Yeah, and that's all props to Aileen. You know, George was the toy designer of that, and
right.
Aileen kind of ran their business. God, and you're right. I can't. It was
a dedicated segment,
corner or something. It was, yeah. I mean, it was. They made it a thing.
Yeah, it was an actual thing. It had animation and everything for that segment. And now I feel bad that I can't remember what the segment was, but it was excellent, and it really kept you engaged. And it was just such a fun dynamic, you know. And that was another husband and wife kind of a scenario.
Yeah, and it was for people that, you know, I had no idea that a designer toy market existed out there.
Yeah.
And, you know, and now George still does a show called God, it's so awful. It's like Toy Geeks or something like that. Or
I know Aileen was always into Lego as well, so she was always doing the brick something too.
Yeah, so they were married, even though they didn't play that up on the show, and they straight up told me that they didn't play up that relationship because they're like, guys don't want to know that I'm married to her. Guys want to think that this is a girl with big boobs, you know, talking toys that's single. Like, they literally said that when we were out to dinner one night. And I was like, oh, I guess I see that, you know. But yeah, they divorced a few years back, and they're both super happy. Aileen went on to marry a guy that is just super crazy Lego guy. So she's really kind of made that her focus in the last few years is this guy. And she's still, and God, it's so awful because I would love to support her, but it's a Lego podcast that's like 2.5 hours long as ours. But that's just too much Lego information, in my opinion. So she's married a guy. They're super happy doing their Lego thing. And George, I got to meet his wife, his new wife, and they just had a baby. Congratulations, George. And I want to say, I'm almost positive his wife's name is Jessica as well. I got to meet them at a PowerCon, and he's still doing a designer toy podcast with 3D Retro, one of his buddies from that show.
I remember 3D Retro was on there as well, and he actually had a store and everything that was
and they still do, like,
okay.
They're it's like Geeks Behind the Counter or something like that.
Now, does George still do Four Horsemen? Because he was wasn't he one of the designers for the Four Horsemen at one point?
So him and the Four Horsemen both worked at McFarlane Toys back in the 90s, back during that huge boom of the late 90s Spawn figures. And then Four Horsemen split off and did their own thing, and George did his own thing.
Okay, so George doesn't have any he doesn't have any of his art actually in the new, like any of the Mythic Legions or anything. Like he doesn't have any part of that. Okay, gotcha.
No. George does completely like designer independent stuff.
Okay,
sculpting nowadays.
Because I know he was doing like he bought the molds for the Skeleton Warriors. And like I remember
that was like the last thing they did as a couple is acquire the Skeleton Warriors license.
Yeah.
Did they try to do a Kickstarter for that and get it going again?
They did, and they did a successful one for the Skeleton, and then when it came time to make the actual figures themselves, it didn't go through because the skeleton was like a 5.5 inch skeleton, so like a master's size, but the figures were 3 3/4. And people were like, what the fuck? And they're like, this is what the original series was. Like the cartoon, the original toys were that way, where the skeletons were 5.5, but the figures were 3 3/4. And when their first one didn't go through successfully, they released another skeleton Kickstarter that was successful again, but they just couldn't get the figures launched with them, and it was all Glyos system. And
was that their choice? Was that their choice to be a different scale, or was it just the molds that they purchased? Because they actually purchased the real molds, right? The licensing and the molds, or
not? I don't know if they have the molds.
Oh, okay.
Because all of the stuff they did was original sculpts by George.
Okay. So they got the licensing. George did all the sculpting. So that's interesting. Why would he sculpt a different scale? Like, I don't understand that part of it.
I think they were just trying to replicate the cartoon, and the past line was that's how it. If it's kind of like if you brought back. Well, I'm trying to think of a good example here, because I mean that's the problem is. They had the bad guys at 5.5, and then they had the good guys at 3 3/4. And so they were trying to replicate that scale, and that kind of fucked with everybody's head. And they were just like, why am I buying a 5.5 skeleton, but buying a 3 3/4, hero?
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, cool.
All right. So kind of a good synopsis there of everything. Cliff, did you have anything to add? I think we kind of cut into your remembrance on a little rabbit hole there.
No, like I said, I've been following the podcast ever since then. When you guys started doing the live streams, I was chatting along with you until you invited me on one day. And you didn't shake me.
And I don't want to. I need to keep this horror rock guy in check, and myself in check too, because I think I know horror, and then Cliff just represents.
Well, Cliff knows a lot. But Cliff knows a lot about names of. Like he's very good with like names of actors, and can associate them with movies and TV shows and stuff. Like, I mean that, like for me, I feel like I know nothing when it comes to actors and assigning, an actor's name to a movie or something like that. So yeah, props out to Cliff for having that knowledge.
No, thanks. I knew it would come in useful one day.
Your time is now.
For the horror segment of Jeopardy, you would fucking ball out on that.
I mean, I gotta say, we do need to do something crazy for Halloween now that we have Cliff, because we've never really focused around Halloween, but we need to do something really cool for Halloween.
Well, let me tell you something,
Probably like a
Lotus.
deep delve into horror figures.
Lotus, Halloween starts in
You
my
know?
house on September 1st.
There you go.
And
All
it
right.
goes through, it's 61 days of horror.
Wow.
And I
was
watch a
gonna
horror movie
say-
every day for 61 days.
All right.
Lotus starts his horror celebration earlier than I would have ever imagined. So you guys got that in common.
And just think, with all the stores that have gone out of business, there'll be a Spirit Halloween. There'll be 3 of them in every shopping center now this year.
Dude, I love Spirit Halloween. Like, I just love every year. I love going in there. Like, it's just such a fun. It's really like an amusement park. It's just a fun place to go.
I
Dude,
completely
we
agree. I
have
fucking
one
love
that's
it.
already got its signage up and everything
Oh,
like
really?
that.
Wow.
I didn't pull into the parking lot, but they have their little like banner across the shopping center sign. They've got their full banner on the shop space already. So
Yeah, they converted. They used an old Toys R Us, and they someone bought the property, so now it's actually a different like facility. So unfortunately, that Spirit Halloween won't be there this year. But I'll have to
In
find
my
another one.
area,
It always does.
I know at least where I live, you can't go 10 minutes in any direction without running into a Spirit Halloween when they do open. They're everywhere.
hell yeah.
And I don't know if you guys are the same as Illinois, but there's like, in addition to Spirit, there's like all these weird Halloween stores. Like there was something called Halloween Headquarters last year that I found, and there was like a Halloween costume like emporium I took my niece to. Like, so they're all the same thing. They're pop-up stores, but there's not just Spirit around me. So
That's
I go to
cool.
all of them.
And we have one other one here, and I can't even remember what it's called, but we have one other one that tries to compete. They have, they have pop-ups and all that kind of shit. But all right. Well, let me share something real quick, and then I think I'm gonna pull Mrs. McFavorite, see if she'll come and sit on my lap for some fun stuff here. But first, I wanted to talk about kind of the impact of what Lotus, I wouldn't say pushed me to do, but turned me on to, and now this is what we're doing right now is the StreamYard in the whole YouTube thing. So first up, let me share my screen here. So first up is this copyright notice, the first one I've ever received in my life. So I talked about this in a blog post, but if you remember, we did a War for Cybertron trailer thing where throughout the years, we've always played audio of trailers and stuff like that, and then talked about it afterwards. And this one, I decided to play the trailer on the show. The audio was awful. Nobody could hear it. Cliff and Lotus, it was both of you, right? I'm not remembering it correctly.
Yeah, we narrated it.
Yeah, you narrated it. Well, you can see this date stamp. Within 20 minutes, I got a copyright, and it says this is not a copyright strike. It says this claim does not affect your account status.
Yeah.
But I got a copyright claim that quickly. So let's give some praise to YouTube and their AI for whatever the fuck it's doing behind the scenes. But basically what happened with this is I didn't have to take down our video, thank God, because I'm all about consistency, and it would have drove me nuts to have a recorded version and live version and bouncing back and forth. But anyways, just to let people know, this is how serious YouTube takes this. That video was demonetized for us. And again, I've had my YouTube channel up for 12 years and I've made $67. So I'm not pulling in like Bobby Skullface money or anything here. And Bobby Skullface would say he's not pulling in some other YouTube reviewers' money here. But I made $67 in 12 years. So I'm not making any money on this. But they literally are taking all the money away from that video and giving it to Netflix because we played a trailer of theirs. So if anybody watches other shows that have stopped playing trailers and stuff, now you know why, but the crazy thing is I want to give big props to this. This is July 13th. I received this. So I've been a creator since January of 2009. We only have 249 subscribers of this. Since then, we've gained like maybe 6 more. But
you guys are killing it.
Yeah, we're balling. But I mean, this is pretty amazing. You want to look at how we did versus the previous month, and June is when we started launching these live shows, and even compared to June, like it's just skyrocketed. 9,422 minutes watched that month, and this is just kind of going up and up and up. And so I want to give big props, especially to you, Lotus, for just saying, because I fought it for a long time. I was just like, I just like the way we're doing it. And he showed me how easy the StreamYard thing is. And it's been amazing. I've had a blast doing it since we've done it. I mean, we've acquired, new listeners, new followers. Cliff has been on the show, and it's just been amazing. Roger, for you, man, I mean, hopefully you've seen how easy it is to join us. And now when I post in that hosts Facebook group, I would love for you to come on when you can.
Yeah, I have no problems jumping on for this. Maybe I'll get a cam and you can see my pretty face.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Lotus, we'll never see Lotus's face, but
right. Yeah, I'm just a bot. You guys don't even. I'm not even real.
It's just AI answering us when we say, "Hey, Lotus, what are you drinking?" LG fridge water,
Baba King.
Same thing with you, AAA. You've been on a video podcast. It drives me nuts that you don't turn your video on.
Oh no, I don't have that device anymore. It's broken. I just need to buy another one.
So I just wanted to say, man, this video thing has been absolutely amazing. It's been super fun for me, at least. Taking editing duties off of Lotus. I do the editing now just because there is no editing. I tack on an intro and an outro and publish. Boom, done. But I'm gonna go check on Mrs. McFavorite. But the next thing I wanted to touch on here is collecting then and now. So let me take the screen share off. Can everybody see the order of everybody? Yes. Like everybody sees Cliff, AAA, then Roger, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why don't we just go through you 5 and talk about, and again, this will be in relation to the start of our show in 2008. But Cliff, why don't you talk about what you're collecting like was 12 years ago compared to now?
Cool. Yeah. So probably when I first started listening to the show, it was all what was the 25th anniversary Joe line, mostly, and the Masters of the Universe classics that were Matty Collector exclusives, and some random Star Wars here and there. But both of those lines are, I mean, for all intents and purposes, dead. So now it's kind of, obviously I'm doing the new Joe the new Joe classified line, but I have character focuses like Jason Voorhees. I get any piece of merch that Jason's on. I'm pretty much buy any horror figure that NECA does. That's always been the same. NECA's been kind of pumping them out lately, like a lot of them lately. So I've been pretty much catching up on those. But other than that, I'm just focusing on the Joe 6-inch line, and then whenever I watch on a whim, watch an old movie or something that might have had a Kenner toy line, I find that I go down a deep hole in eBay and have to collect them all. I'm really nostalgic for all those Kenner movie lines, the Terminator line, the Predator line, their Batman series, their Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves stuff, their Waterworld line. I just love that they went all in on like every movie that they could have possibly done because they wanted to try to recreate Star Wars.
And some of them aren't too expensive either, which is nice.
Oh, dude, you can get them for Marvel Legends prices. Like, you can get them mint on. I just bought a shit ton of Batman animated series figures, and you can get them for like $23-24 a pop, mint on card. I mean,
and those Robin Hood figures are like $5.
I know. I have them all.
I have a lot of them. Yeah, they're pretty.
And they're all just Superpowers repaints. Yeah, they're just Superpowers repaints, except for Friar Tuck, who's a Grammarian guard.
Yep, exactly.
Guard. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And all the vehicles are Ewok repaints. So like it's just such a funny little Frankenstein line. Yeah. So that's what I'm collecting now. I love that movie. You shut your mouth, Rock. That movie's perfect. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Shut your whore mouth.
I'm not saying it's perfect, Rock, but it is.
It's a good cast. Really it's a great cast, but not a good movie.
I can't look at that movie with anything other than pure nostalgia. I think I was 10 when it came out, and that was fucking incredible. I had the cereal, I had the toys. Robin Hood was the greatest thing in the world. So I can't look at that every time I watch it, I'm that 10-year-old. So I can't look at it as a 39-year-old man watching a movie. All I see is what I saw when I was a kid. So I love it. I do. I think it's awesome. But it's okay. I'm going to forgive you, and I'm going to accept your apology for bad-mouthing it, and we'll just move on.
In your honor, I might go and open up one of those Robin Hood figures. I'll rip it open right on camera.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
That's what we'll do.
You got the what's the Dark Warrior? That's a good one.
I have most of them, but hold on. I should rip one open just to make Peter happy because I don't open shit according to him.
But there's two Robin Hoods. There's Longbow and Crossbow.
I got two Robin Hoods. I got Friar Tuck. I got Robin Hood. I should rip one of these open. It's so goddamn cheap.
You should rip open Longbow Robin Hood.
Is that the most valuable one or the cheapest one?
No, it's my favorite one of the series. Oh. They're all pretty much the same price.
The Dark Warrior.
He could. Yeah. There you go. Cool. Yeah, if you got Dark Warrior, rip him open. He's just a cool toy.
Don't do it, Rock. I feel like this is a stunt.
It's a 200th episode. We got to do something special, right?
I guess that's true. Well,
there you go.
Hey, that was good.
That's my favorite one. Yeah.
I'm kind of I might open Friar Tuck. I can make a custom rock figure.
I was gonna say, yeah, because he's got that Gamorrean guard. I have a loose and a carded version of him just because I'm a Gamorrean guard guy.
Should we do it? Make a Rock the Farting Dad custom figure, open it up live, open up your toys. It's fucking episode 200! Look at that!
Just fucking mangle that thing.
That's how you open up a toy.
There you go.
Yeah.
If I grow a beard, I can do this. Rock some sandals. It's gonna be a rock figure.
No, I think.
See, Peter,
are you 3'3"?
Hey, thank you. That looks really good.
The funny thing about this skit is the glue is so 80s glue or 90s glue that it literally popped the bubble off without even destroying the card.
Yeah, I didn't even hear a rip or anything.
Oh, it did? Okay. I thought it popped right off.
Okay.
Don't worry. When this podcast is over, I'll be out here with my tape crying and putting it back together.
You just hop on eBay and get a new one for $6.
I know. Don't step ahead of you. I'll be with podcasting. I'll buy it. Hey, but episode 200 got an open figure now.
Well, and So I checked on Mrs.
Upskirt.
Favorite, and par for the course, she is now napping. So once again, she did not make it through an episode of Open Your Toys.
But that's perfect. That's what she always does. So that's like perfect.
That's exactly right. I felt it coming and it came. But AAA, what about you? What collecting then and now?
2008. That's the time when. Is it the time when it's a legacy collection with Star Wars and Transformer would be like the movie one? I think it's the something The Fallen.
No, well, I mean, 2007 was the original movie. 2009 was Revenge of the Fallen. So 2008 would be the original movie / the kind of tail end of the first classics wave.
Damn, I can't remember a thing. Maybe the sprite is really doing a number on me. But yeah, I think I wasn't really full force into collecting. I don't think I was just buying things here and there. I started out with the only thing I remember I got back in was a Star Wars Titanium series, Obi-Wan Kenobi Starship. I don't know what year is that, but I picked that thing up, and that just led to a huge rabbit hole. So yeah, I shouldn't have picked that up. I was really a gamer. Like, geez, like I do so many things about video games. That was it until I picked up that Starship, and also it was also an outlet for me to like do something else other than video game, because I had a previous relationship before, and I literally did everything on video games and social media, MMORPG, you name it, I've done those, and that kind of destroyed my life. Yeah, living another world kind of make you happy, sure, but like your reality suffers a bit. So, so I decided to quit, but it's a little too late. So we both got, we got divorced, and I picked up something different.
Oh wow, a full-on marriage, not just
Yeah.
a relationship, a full-on marriage. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. That's crazy.
Yeah, and yeah, I kind of learned the lesson of just I gotta focus now and here, not some cyberspace thing. So I gave up gaming. Literally, my last video game system is PS2, so I never looked back.
I
But
feel like
I
we need
picked
to
up.
have some music. Should we have some violins or something?
No, but you know what? It built a better me. So. And actually, I like being the new me now. So all that stuff back then is I'm just closure in like a cave. I don't really meet anybody. I'm just doing everything online. Now it's just like, I could get out of my shell, meet some new people, talk about passions and hobbies and stuff. So yeah, I like this, and I also I'm a creative person. I do a lot of photography, and I did photography for 7 years, doing weddings and birthday party and stuff. And then I put my talent into taking like toy photos, so that could express my outlet for creativity wise. And so when I picked up that first Star Wars vehicle, I felt like something just sparked, and I want to get back into the industry of creativities. So I worked for some company over in China to build kids toy for target age 3 to 10 years old. Was in the project for about a year, and then I decided to move on to try to make better money. So they don't pay very much because China. So but yeah, I feel like it's better to get away from the industry in a way. for me back then, because I can enjoy this hobby more. It's like if you work at your favorite restaurant and you see that food every day, it just gets really tiring. You know, you want it to be out of it. You know, just do something else so you can enjoy this stuff. But I assume that it's different for nowadays with Hasbro employees and stuff because they're really making some really killer stuff, and I want a part of that, you know. But it's hard to get in with that industry now. It's beyond me. I can't sculpt with anything, so I'm just an artist, and they don't even use pen anymore. Everything's all digital, so I'm again too old for that. So I don't gotta do something different. But as far as collecting wise, I mean, went from I'm Asian, so I obviously collect import toys, so that never died on me. And I just picked up when I came to America, and then I just picked up that Starship Fighter, and now I'm collecting American toys too. So it's like imagine having East and West toys in my little tiny apartment. Freaking A. It's too much. That's why I've been telling Jason that, hey, you know what, I gotta sell this stuff. You know, I just gotta keep selling, and that otherwise I'm not gonna be able to enjoy all this stuff. I preach a whole different philosophy. I always tell people, like, you know, you got one life, you know, and people are inventing things every day. You get to live on this planet until you die, so you just enjoy whatever is coming out, because when it's over, you know. It's just, I mean, if you keep this stuff, you can be like selling things. You just be making money. I'd rather just work my job, make the money, and then reward myself and just enjoy stuff what other people make. And so I'm an experiencer. I like to experience things, you know. I mean, when I'm sure, like, we all want to live as much as we can to see the next new Avenger or new G.I. Joe movie, you know. That's experiencing things. So for toys, for me, like, I don't know what happens in the next 30 years, you know, of toys, you know. It could be nothing. So enjoy it now, you know. It could be like they don't care about this stuff anymore, or it could be even better, and I won't be there for that. So just, you know, live the moment. And there's a lot of cool engineering technologies out there that making these amazing plastic just fascinating. Yeah, that's it.
Well, and so AAA has three characteristics that I've always admired and wish that I could incorporate into my own life. And other hosts on this podcast have each of these, you know, characteristics as well. You know, Cliff, your big thing is your breadth of knowledge. You know, like when you go after something, you know everything about that, and you know, and that kind of thing. Just even knowing like actors and directors' names, I find extremely valuable. AAA, so your big things that I admire is one, you collect the definitive version of characters.
Mm-hmm.
So I have 78 Snake Eyes. And how many Snake Eyes do you think you have?
5.
Yeah, you know, because I need to see that evolution.
He's like the worst character. And you have 78 versions of him?
This is coming from Roger's. Like, I really want the classifieds, all except for Snake Eyes. What do you have them? Like, do you not want them because you already have them? Or he's like, no, I just don't want Snake Eyes. But anyway, and then the other big thing is Peter will buy a $300 toy that he has no connection to just because it's a fun toy. That I can't let, that's mind blowing. Like $300 on something you don't even have a connection to.
Well, I seen pictures, and it looks like the engineer looks fun, and I wanted to experience.
I do that too when I find a butt zombie at Target on clearance for $3. I buy that toy just because I'm like, oh, it's a butthole that's a zombie. That's interesting. That $300, Soul of Jojoka figures. But anyway, and then the big one that everybody shares much more than I do is the ability to sell your collection, to be able to sell things to keep the hobby going, as opposed to me. I've sold things out of necessity for my unemployment, but Peter just constantly flips things. Roger sold almost his entire collection. Rock makes he's able to afford his collecting by flipping things. Lotus moves on to different interests and has no problem just fucking putting a whole collection up for sale. So big props to you, AAA, for those things.
I think it's because if I had 2 jobs, and it's just supposed to help the bills. So if I was buying these toys, and these toys are very expensive, in order to enjoy them, you're going to have to find other ways. Let toy fund your toys. That's bottom line is, and you won't feel it on your wallet. So
well, you don't have to feel it in your wallet, because remember, everything in PayPal is free money. So you just log into PayPal, and free money,
right.
and you just spend that shit. You don't got to worry about it.
So that's how you live life.
Free money. I love spending that free money.
Roger, how about you then and now, 2008 compared to right now?
2008. What was coming out then? You have to jog my memory a bit.
So
I can tell you where I was.
Classics, the original movie Transformers. We were full on into the 25th anniversary of the Joes.
Attack of the Clones had come out then?
Oh yeah, Attack of the Clones is like 2000.
Yeah, that was 02.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So 2008 is like Legacy Collection, and where they're
Right.
really like what I consider the golden age of Star Wars collecting.
So by then, I think I was full in. At that point, I decided that all my loose collection of G.I. Joes had to be all flipped over into on-card, mint condition. All my vehicles had to be sold off, and all had to be in boxes. Some never assembled. Some of them were assembled. At that point, I was living in a small house with 2 young children, with my ex-wife, and my my toy room was so huge I had to take a storage unit, and basically every day I would purchase, or every day the mailman would show up with like 10 packages for me. I had to go to the storage unit to store my stuff, and it just got so massive at one point that, again, it the argument with my ex-wife every day about, you got 10 more packages and all the money you're spending and blah, 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 blah. I kept justifying it by, I'll sell it though. I'll sell it. Don't worry, I'll sell it. Never sold it. Yeah. And then it got to the point where I just went down this weird hole where I would just remember a toy line as a kid, and I'd be like, oh, I need to collect all that toy line. I remember having Teenage Mutant Turtles. I need every single turtle. I remember having the Batman Kenner series. I need every single Batman of that line. Star Wars, the same thing. Like I recollected the entire vintage collection twice.
Wow! Oh my god!
Right? Like that's pretty bad, man. And then divorce comes along. I have to find a place to live. It took me 6 large trucks, like full, like long bed trucks, pickups, 6 trips to move my collection from my place to my new place.
Wow.
And then when I moved it there, it was so small, I had to stick it in this weird storage area underneath the house that I was staying in. And then when I moved out of there to my apartment I'm in now, which is a 2-bedroom, by the way, and I got it solely for the fact of my collection. It took an 8x10 storage unit, and that was solely just my collection and nothing else.
Jesus.
And then when I actually unpacked it, which took me 3 weeks to unpack and actually organize and put together, it got to the point where I had so much anxiety about it, I had to start downsizing it and getting on top of it and getting in control. I just find that once you get through your first loop of selling, like when you get it's hard when you're going through your collection, like, well, what do I need? What do I don't need? What do I still really like? What am I still really interested in? Once you get through that part of it, it seems to get easier and easier to sell. And it got to the point where a friend of mine who was a mechanic was like, hey, I want to learn how to work on cars. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I'll try that. Let's do that. And then, yeah, that just ended up being my new collecting. So now I collect cars instead of toys. I still have stuff around. Like, I'm a huge Batman fan. I still collect Batman to this day. Like, the new McFarlane stuff that just came out, I'm all in on that stuff. Again, fucking Hasbro and your G.I. Joe pulling me in on that one too. Like, I seen it and I see the stuff that's the Target stuff and the Troopers. I'm like, fuck, I'm in. Like,
they're awesome.
Yeah, like, and then the Transformers, I'm kind of in and out. I'm more like the Masterpiece stuff than I do the War of Cybertron and all that stuff that they're coming out with now. Some of it's good. Like, the Combiner War stuff was decent. But, it's definitely takes me a lot more now to want to purchase toys than it did before. The NECA stuff, I love the new Turtle stuff they're doing with NECA and everything. Like, I love all that stuff. So yeah, I'm pretty much Batman now is pretty much my, like, for sure, if I'm out, I see it, I'll buy it. G.I. Joe will probably be on next one, especially with the retro line coming out as well. And cars, I just have a graveyard of cars now.
So being the only person on the panel that still has Toys R Us, right?
Yeah, we still have a Toys R Us.
BC there. Okay. How often do you frequent Toys R Us, and what's it like? Because we don't know anymore down
there. You guys! Oh, right, you're recovering plastic addicts from Toys R Us. I go there every time I'm in the mall. It's just an old habit of mine. It's still the same Toys R Us it's always been. Like, again, you go in there and you're running around checking out. Yeah, there you go. You run around checking out all the new action figures and all the new Lego lines that are coming out, and it's more baby stuff now than less action figures. But yeah, it's Toys R Us is Toys R Us. Nothing's really changed there. Even their online presence is in Canada, it's still piss poor, like it's always been. So
I was going to say, is it still overpriced relative to?
Yeah, it definitely is. I can go to Walmart and get the same thing for $5 or $6 less.
Okay. And do they do the sales? Because that's where Toys R Us shined, was when they had the buy 2 1 get 1 free. That's where it'd be cheaper than Walmart finally. That kind of stuff. Do they still have good sales at least?
They have weird sales there. Like, you'll see, like, I was watching the 2-pack of the Marvel Legends, I think it was the Colossus and the Juggernaut, the 2-pack they made.
Mm-hmm.
It just came out. So it was like, it retailed for $60 in Toys R Us, and it kind of sat there for a month or two, and then suddenly it was $20. Like, they just do crazy price drops and just to blow stuff out.
Huh.
Damn.
Baller. Yeah.
Right?
Like, they still have those? Because I would buy one.
I can go and look. I haven't been there in a bit.
Shipping.
But yeah, like they have random sales. It's not really like it was before. Like, you knew it was coming, and again, they'd have the 2 for 1 or whatever. But yeah, they just have like random price drops. Or like, we need to clean the shelves. Everything's now $20. Get it out of here.
Crazy. All right, Rock. What about you? Then and now, 2008.
Well, back then, the only thing I bought was the 25th G.I. Joes. But because my son was like 1 year old, I was buying 3 of every figure. I was buying 1 to open, 1 to keep carded, and then the extra just in case. So I still have a whole
that's
set.
a Swan. Was that from Swan, Star Wars Action News?
No, it was just something I did.
Interesting.
I really did. And then I would actually go on eBay and just buy lots of them, and I'd get them pretty good deals. And I had this bookshelf, but I had like the set up as like army builders. Like I had all the bats and the vipers, and then I didn't start buying vintage till my first Comic-Con. It was Father's Day, and my wife gave me money, and I bought a mint and seal box Zartan for $125, where they're like $1,000 now.
I sold mine for like $80.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was back then, right?
No, that was probably 2 years ago.
The prices have gone, they've skyrocketed.
Yeah, I guess G.I. Joe is so relevant now. So.
Yes, G.I. Joe's gone ridiculous. But then, I started getting into, my son got the Star Wars in G.I. Joe. So I let him open up all my Power of the Force figures. But then I was buying the Legacy figures. And then I stopped really buying modern. And I got hooked on vintage. And then it was things that looked like in vintage packaging. There was a set that Star Wars made. What was it called when they were on the vintage packaging, but they were like a modern figure?
Well, there was the vintage collection was the first one, and they came in clamshell.
Yes, I had all of those.
Yeah.
And I said, wow, one day I'd like to actually own vintage Star Wars figures. And then slowly but surely, I started buying. I bought Bib Fortuna and the Rancor Keeper, like my first 2 vintage Star Wars figures. They were like $35 and $30 each.
I was
now
$20 piece.
Yeah, now a full run later, and then I sold off all of those kind of figures, and I just slowly been doing the same thing. Like, sold off my loose Joes to buy me on card Joes. Sold off, whatever was loose and stuff I had that I wasn't collecting. I mean, I do have some regrets. There's some stuff I sold off to buy vintage Star Wars I absolutely regret now. Like I sold, Cliff's going to know this one, the Michael Myers, the night he came home, the NECA box set. That's like a $500 piece right now. Yeah, I sold that. I sold off an unpunched Cobra, the polar bear, the snow serpent, to buy mint on card Star Wars. Now I'm regretting it because that's like a $600 figure now. So
that is fucking brutal, man.
Yeah, brutal is what I bought this week. I mean, I don't know if we're gonna get to where we got in, but I had a massive buy for last week. But yeah, now like I've been trying to get all the straight arms. So now, like this week, I got, this week I've been trying to get Flash and Rock and Roll forever.
Oh my God, the Flash!
Yeah, so to get those 2, I had to buy a lot of 5. That's what kind of sickness I have. I had to buy. So now I had to buy all these to get those 2.
Oh,
I mean,
what does the straight arm grunt go for with that classic artwork?
Graded or ungraded? That's a whole nother thing.
Well, ungraded, because that's what
ungraded. I have it on eBay right now for $450.
Yeah. Okay. I mean,
and that's with the flag point clipped.
Oh, okay.
If it wasn't, I'd get it graded and like put up for about $1,000.
Yeah.
Oof. I mean, it's near perfect, but now like I spent $1,000 on those 5 figures, and that's a steal.
Hey, thanks for paying for Open Your Toys hosting. We appreciate it.
I mean, but now I'm now I'm just strictly vintage. My son doesn't collect toys; he's a gamer, and that's I buy me. I've been buying the modern stuff if it's like the G1 that comes out as the old packaging, but I'm pretty much narrowed my focus to anything that's like, if it's modern, it's gotta be in the vintage packaging or strictly vintage. But that's where I'm at now.
I don't know what I still have left mint on card for my vintage shows. I think I have a Hawk and like a General Hawk, Cobra Commander's battle armor.
Ah.
Yeah, the 87 stuff. Okay.
Yeah, the 87 stuff.
86, 8. Yeah. The prices have gone ridiculous. I mean, I saw with Baroness. I got outbid to the yesterday on a bunch of ones. Alpine, it was $115 with like 15 seconds left. It ended at 388. Crimson Guard went for 415, and yeah, I mean, and this is what shit's going for now.
Wow.
I'll go. It's let me just see real quick. Oh yeah, Ripcord went for 538. Crimson Guard went for 405, and Alpine went for 333. They were all at $115 with 30 seconds left.
I have
got
a
outbid on
Mint
all
box
those yesterday.
Tomahawk never assembled with an actual story behind it.
Oh,
that I haven't sold yet. That's actually sitting here. It's the one piece I won't sell.
it's a beautiful vehicle.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I
Well,
posted.
Roger, if you're ever gonna sell anything, I'm your Huckleberry.
I'll let you know for sure. I posted I had a full run of, what was it, Night Force, and I split it into two lots, and I posted them at $10 a start on each lot. Within 2 hours, they both were sitting at $1,000.
Wow, Jesus.
Well, then
Night
one set of
Force is
Night
just
Force.
crazy.
Yeah, the one set of Night Force was just what, Toys R Us exclusive or something
Yeah.
like that. That's where they're. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I didn't.
That purchased my 68 Nova and my motor for that 68 Nova.
Wow.
All right, Lotus, you're up next. 2008 to now, and we just to give a shout out, we got Deluxe Baldwin up in here. He gave
What's up, Matt?
Thank you, Mateo. We appreciate it.
So, yeah, it's been a whirlwind. So basically, I would say around 2010 is probably when I started collecting really hardcore Transformers. I was, collecting classics from the 2006 line. I was collecting animated. Let's see. I'm just trying to think of like all the different Transformers that I collected back then. I mean, it was crazy. But I was the guy who was doing the one to open and one to keep sealed. So I just got into that whole rabbit hole. And then some of the figures that I couldn't find anymore, I'd be going on eBay. And yes, I was one of those stupid people who paid $40 for Classics Prowl or one of the Seekers that I just couldn't find, because those prices were crazy back then, around 2010 or so. But yeah, and then I also collected the Toys R Us line, the reissues, and then those I think started in they were like 2002 or something like that. But I was buying a lot of stuff on eBay, just paying increased prices for this stuff. The animated stuff I got all on clearance because that was, for some reason, those figures all went on clearance at Walmart. I don't know. It was just probably towards the end of the line or something like that. And I never watched the show. I just thought the figures looked really cool. But I was also collecting Masterpiece at the same time. I was also collecting Generation 1. And, it was not that none of this stuff was from my childhood. It was literally just stuff that I was just constantly buying, filling up those detolfs. I mean, it was just, it's just a crazy amount of buying and collecting. But yeah, I mean, it's just been a whirlwind for me. Starting, like I said, 2010 was definitely when I got hot and heavy into really buying a lot of stuff. I would say 2008. 2008, I was buying stuff, but I wasn't like going crazy at it. And then after that, I mean, I started moving into buying Hot Toys, and then I got crazy into these stupid Hot Toys, and and that took me down a rabbit hole of all these Iron Men and just all these armors that were coming out, and I was so addicted to just buying these stupid Iron Man armors. You know, I don't want to say stupid. I'm using that as a fun, you know. I don't really know how to explain it. It's just you go through these little collecting, you know, rabbit holes, you know, whether it's carded figures or Hot Toys, which unfortunately were just expensive. But yeah, I just kept on collecting. I never lost sight of Transformers. I was always collecting Transformers. When the movie lines came out, I bought all the Revenge of the Fallen stuff, all the original Transformers stuff, and I just kept all that stuff on card, in box, you know, just lining my walls with all this stuff, you know, thumbtacks. You know, I was just doing the thumbtack thing. I had at one point I think I had 14, maybe it was 16 Detolfs, just all lined up. Like, it was just crazy. But yeah, Voltron, I know I collected some Voltron sets, some of those Toynami Voltron sets. Oh man, it was just nuts. And then I finally got a Grand Maximus, and then that was like my most expensive purchase. And that was, I think that was trying to think when that was. That was probably about maybe 2011, maybe, when I bought Grand Max. And I think I still paid. I bought him from Japan. And with the shipping and everything, it still ran me about $1,700 for him. But that was in box, like it was open, but it was in box. The stickers weren't applied. And I think I have a video of me selling that figure still on my channel. But yeah, I mean, that was, and I have had no, I hate to say it, but I was like one of these people who doesn't really know anything about a character, you know, but just wanted to collect it because it was a grail. I want to be honest about this. This was a figure that was a grail to some people, and I wanted to be different. I wanted to have something that no one else has or is harder to obtain. So I would just save my money up and just dump all my money into this one figure, you know. So yeah, it was just kind of crazy. I don't know if, I mean, that is definitely another conversation that, you know, have you ever tried to be different and you know, save up a whole bunch of money and, you know, just buy a crazy expensive figure just to be more unique, just to kind of, and the craziest part about all this, guys, is, yeah, I had my YouTube channel, but I never did any really reviews on there. It was just, I think I started my channel in like 2013, and I never really did any reviews. I was literally using my YouTube channel to sell my stuff. So I was like selling like Thundercats and selling my game systems, because that was another thing. I collected game systems, like vintage game systems. I don't even like playing video games, but I liked the idea of collecting boxed systems. I mean, I don't play games, but it's just like a collection kind of a thing. And then, you know, the Masterpiece Transformers, out of hand, you know, just buying all the variants just because there's a number on the box, and I have this OCD where I need to have a complete collection of something. So it just, you know, Roger talks about getting out of hand. I definitely feel that same. It can get out of hand, and it can become a problem, and you literally just have to do exactly what Roger said and just start selling it. Like, if it gets to that point, you just have to just say, you know what, I'm collecting way too much stuff. I don't need to collect all this stuff. I need to get a little bit of control here. And for me, it was easier because I do have that completist mentality. So once I start selling something, I have to sell the whole set. I got to get rid of it, just to kind of break the cycle. So yeah, that's basically it. And then after Hot Toys, I got into statues, and, you know, once again, I don't even read the comics. I don't read comics, but I appreciate art. Like, I appreciate, someone took time to, digitally sculpt this or hand sculpted it and then, cast it and then sell it. I mean, I appreciate all that. Like I started buying like, the easy stuff, which was just going to Sideshow and basically, buying the premium format statues that were like $400 or $500. And then I got into, there's third party statue makers that have these crazy like works of art that are unlicensed. So I got into that. And then I started ordering stuff from Singapore, sight unseen, like just sending people money. $1,200, just send $1,200, like PayPal $1,200 to someone, and then next year you might get something in the mail, and like it's just really crazy. And so yeah, I mean, and now I'm into robots. Now I have something that was from my childhood that is near and dear to my heart, and I love mechanics. Like me and Roger would get along really good because I'm very hands-on, very mechanical. I love cars. I mean, hydraulics, all that stuff. Like that's all stuff that I did in my past and I still do today. And, like I said, this whole, rocket flare explosion, showbiz pizza place, this is near and dear to my heart, and, it allows me to make that nostalgia connection. It allows me to make that mechanical, that engineering, that, all the things that, still, the collecting aspect of it where, there's certain parts or certain costumes that you have to collect to get these, to restore your character, it's all part of it. So yeah, so like I said in the beginning of the show, I think we all collect, and we're always going to have that collecting, we're born collectors. We're always going to have that collecting thing in our hearts, and it's never going to go away. And, no matter what you collect, whatever it is, it's going to be there. And that's basically it. It's been a crazy ride for me. I have been pulling back more, as far as, engagement and stuff. I am feeling, like sometimes I do feel like, kind of like a pressure to be more involved, because I am on the show. But I am pulling back. I'm still selling, my collection. And, so, I don't know. That's about it.
Hell yeah. Oh God. I love it. Just, all of this is just giving me goosebumps because, I know a lot of you on the side and we talk about things on the side and just kind of hearing everything evolve. I absolutely love it. And, I guess just real quickly for my collecting, if you haven't noticed, this is going to be a long show, and if people need to drop off, everybody, please feel free to drop off. But my collecting, like I say, 2008 was the Wild Wild West for me. I was thinking I was going to be the next Big Bad Toy Store or the next Brian's Toys or whatever. And got a real quick, as soon as I was able to start buying things wholesale, then I saw how you can't make any money on modern toys. I mean, none of these, a Big Bad Toy Store can make money on modern toys by selling 1,000 different modern toys and selling anywhere from 50 to 100 of those modern toys. That's how you make money. You can't make money just saying, oh, I'm going to order all the G.I. Joe classifieds. I'm going to order 10 cases and I'm going to sell them off. Those you may be able to make your money back on, but most things you're not going to make your money back on. So my toy collection has just exploded. I'm extremely lucky that I have an oversized garage. I built a shed in our backyard. I have my room. I have a back room. I have a laundry room where I can just shove all of this shit to. So I've been extremely lucky in that point that anything I've wanted to collect, I've collected. And I don't know where the fuck it is. I mean, there's things that Lotus has wanted. There's things that AAA has wanted. And I'm like, I have that. I have an extra one. I know I have an extra one. But if I ever find that, maybe in 10 years, I'll find it and be like, oh, AAA, did you still need this? And did you still want this? You know, it's ridiculous. Even as we look at, I mean, you see this fucking, I mean, this is a clusterfuck. I can't even move my laptop well. I mean, it is just literally, oh shit, now I'm unplugging shit. But it's just literally boxes upon boxes upon boxes. So in 2008, I was doing nothing. I mean, I was buying a toy here and there. I started going on toy runs, that kind of shit. And it just got to this point where I was like, I'm going to do this professionally, blah, 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 and never ended up doing it professionally. Still behind everybody else, probably in this entire group, on selling stuff, even though, you know, I've had some bursts when I needed some money during unemployment. I sold 3,000 in a month. I sold 2,000 this month, that kind of stuff. But a lot of that was things I bought on my wholesale account, like Masterpiece Hound or something like that, where I'm not making 3,000. I'm barely breaking even. I'm just not losing money. And I can say, luckily, in my toy selling career, I haven't lost money, at least.
Just to interrupt for a second, like, it's not when you're selling, it's not always about making money or like breaking even. Some of it's just like getting rid of stuff. Like, you're not always going to make money on what you sell, and all of us all of us who sold our stuff realize that. Like, as you're selling it, you're like, yeah, I paid X amount of dollars for this, but the money that I'm getting back now makes more sense than what I paid for it before, right?
Yeah, and that's what I need to learn. And luckily, just because of what I've sold, I have purposely sold things that I know I will make money on. I have yet to purposely sell things that I know I'm going to lose money on. And that's that big collection I bought on the last show. Now it's been a couple weeks. Yeah, I just know I'm going to have to sell 10 figures for $10. And that's just what's going to happen. But there's going to be comic packs that, you know, if you break it out across, I paid $5 for, and they're going to sell for 100, you know, and that's that kind of lucky thing that hopefully I'll be able to achieve. But I mean, it's tough. My collecting, I have implemented so many restrictions on myself. Like, I don't buy anything vintage that I didn't want as a kid, isn't a subgroup, or isn't a snow group. Okay. And it seems like, oh, okay, well, you don't have very much to buy. Well, the fuck I don't. I remember a lot as a kid. You know, I remember a lot of figures that I want to have because I remember it as a kid. You know, there's a whole lot of snow shit. There's a whole lot of Python Patrol. There's a whole lot of Tiger Force. And then the more you get into this hobby, then you find out, oh, there's a UK Tiger Force that each figure costs $400. loose if you're lucky to find it, you know. And it's like, Jesus fucking Christ, it doesn't seem like it ever ends. And the meanwhile, now we're having Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle 8-bit drops, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cartoon drops, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie drops. Like it just doesn't ever stop. And this is like the thing I've been battling with myself from day one, is how does it stop? Where does it stop? When do you stop? And how do you go about that? Being my whole life, I've been like, fuck scalpers, fuck these people that just buy shit to sell shit. I've been buying shit from day one to sell shit. When I found, a Macquarie Vader back in 2008, I bought the other Macquarie Vader that I found at the same time. What was that, to open? No, it was because I was like, this is hard to find, and I bought it, and I'm going to sell it. And eventually it just got packed away. So it's one of those tough things. Like, what do you do? And I love that everybody on this podcast has answered that. Everybody has said, you just fucking do it. You don't say, oh, I remember that. I was on vacation. I found that in Arizona, blah, blah, blah. You just fucking sell it, and you may make the money you spent on it, or you may not, or you may make 10 times the money. Who knows? But
can I say something here?
Yeah.
So, I literally, I just saw Micro Machines coming back, and I saw them at Target over this past weekend. And I had that moment because Micro Machines was a big deal. Like Transformers was a big deal, but Micro Machines definitely was something that I had as a kid. And when I saw that on the shelf, I didn't even know Micro Machines was back. And when I saw those, that first wave, I was just like, okay. I mean, I had in my hand. I'm like, I'm gonna do this. It fits with this idea of having these world's smallest Transformers and all this tiny stuff. And I'm like, oh, Micro Machines. But then I'm like, in my back of my head, I'm like, okay, well, I'm not gonna open them. So now I'm gonna have big, they're not big cards, but so I put them back, and I told myself, I'm like, I'm trying to get out of all this, and I think that's what you have to do. You just have to step back and really think before you jump right in to a line,
Well, I think you're right. I think you gotta consider what's your end goal in all of this, So, yeah, it's just one of those things. I'm like, everything I touch, I'm just like, is that going to be my new sickness? Is that going to be my new addiction?
I think Roger is right in regards to it becomes easier to sell things once you start really making a big dent in your collection. You have to get to there's a point where you will start selling things, and you'll, like, if you want to make a decision to literally focus and, just change your whole collecting mentality and say, okay, I'm just going to collect world's smallest Transformers and that's it. It'll be hard at first to start selling things. It was hard for me. It's going to be hard to start selling things, but then you'll get to a point where you'll sell so much of your collection. And, like I said, I'm big into display cases. So display cases really help organize and focus. It really helps to bring light to what is important in your collection, is to have display cases. That's why I'm so big on there. Like, even if you just line your walls with Billy bookcases for $60 a piece, it just really makes a difference because it puts that stuff right out in the open, and you can focus on it. So yeah, I mean, I'm right with Roger. So I mean, if you ever made that decision, if you ever made the decision to really focus on something that's really near and dear to your heart, or it's just a really cool collection that you want to just, continue to have or continue to collect, that's what you really have to do. Is you really have to go in there. You will lose money, so you have to put that also aside. I've lost a lot of money doing this, all these sales, but I do have a peacefulness now. I don't feel compelled to buy things, and like I said, I have these moments, just like with the micro machines that happen to me, that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and then I think back to all of the hard work that I just went through and all the money that I lost selling stuff. So you really have to think about things, and you do have to put your emotions aside, which that's the problem with all of us, is we are just so nostalgically connected to all of this stuff. And like I would love to see chemically what happens to my brain when I saw those micro machines. Like I would like to see like how many synapses are kicking off, like what is happening right now, because I know that there's a chemical thing there. There has to be.
Yeah.
There's something. There's endorphins. There's something that's going on that's making me.
And in that shit.
Yeah, it's like a drug,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, like a heroin addict probably has the same endorphin burst as we do.
I wonder if that is what is. Yeah, exactly. It has to be something really powerful, because it made me pick those figures off the shelf and put them into my put them in my hands, and I looked at the best cards. I was set to buy that first wave.
Can I suggest one thing? For those of you who really, if you're truly ready to stop, I mean, I'm actually opposite of all you guys. I'm an experiencer. I want to live through this until I die. So, but if you really want to stop, it's actually really simple, really. When you go to the grocery shop, don't go into the toy section. If you're on Facebook, don't join any of the toy groups. You are banned out of everything. You have no clue what's going on in the world. What you have is whatever you got left on your shelves. And you're going to look at this stuff every day and night. This is the only thing you have. You're going to start maybe either one, enjoy this stuff, or I'm getting sick of looking at this stuff. Now, your addiction is literally, I wouldn't say kaput. You just need another addiction. Maybe you'll go watch sport or do something else. And that's going to carry you over. And you got a new, different thing, because you can't go back to toys anymore, because you have no idea what's going on in the world. So social media is pushing us, and the toy section is also. So if you can stop going online, looking at toys or websites and what's new, what's fresh, what's coming out, I think you're in the good place. Or going over to eBay, it's like, hey, I reminisce. I used to have this one figure. It's like in the 80s. I gotta look for this. Don't look for anything.
I don't think there's any way for any of us to do that. I just don't think that's not any of us.
Yeah, which is why I chose to live forward. Like this is me. I'm not going to stop. I live with this. I know this is not going to happen. I'm gonna go full force on it. So when I do full force on it, I know I don't have the space. So I look at one thing's coming in, something need the space. Some one of you's gotta go. So you gotta go. I need that spot. So that's how I move things in and out. So because I need the space, and it never get to the point where it's kind of looking like the wall that you got back there, Slick.
So let's change it up a little bit. So what if you had the space and you had unlimited money? What would you do?
Oh, buy all.
Okay, well then there you go. You would just
But I don't have the amount of space. So the reality is, it's not what if, it's what is it now to me. I can't say what if anything can happen. I mean, What if I win $1 million? What if there's so many what ifs?
No, I guess what I'm just trying to say is
Mhm.
at our hearts, in our deep cores, we're all the same. We're all the same. We are
Right.
collectors at heart, and no matter what, no matter how we justify how to either leave the hobby or slim down the hobby or focus on something, we're all the same. We just
Yeah.
all have different methods. For me, it's I put it in my hands and I walk around holding these things, that
Mhm.
and then I just have to think,
Yeah.
So,
Right. Yeah.
but I still take pictures. I take pictures of everything. I could never give up. I could never give up going to the toy aisle. Never. I don't. I still enjoy taking pictures of stuff and posting it to the group, and just show what's there. I mean, whether
Mhm.
it's a new board game or a whatever. It could be a watermelon slicer that I I saw the one day.
I kept a database of pictures, all the thing I sold, and like I think every 2 years I go into that database just to look at all the pictures that I
Me
had
too.
these
Me
toys.
too. Yep.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, like I have to constantly remind myself, like, not to start recollecting again.
Yep.
So Jeremy in the group here displaying his key. Sadly, lost a shit ton of divorce. But he loves the small collections he has. Also makes it easier for the S line is dead. For example, Dino Rider Dick Tracy. So him and his significant other, their big thing is Pops right now. Like they have taught me more about Pops than I ever wanted to know about Pops. But I mean, it's really interesting, and I agree. Like, Peter, you talk about what you see behind me. This is 1.5%. 1.5%. Easy.
Believe it, man. I've seen and heard the stories of this place.
It's ridiculous, and it's like you say, it's just because I have the space. I've had the space, so I've expanded into it ad nauseum.
But let's
put ready to divorce me.
But let's put that in perspective. It's not because you have the space. There's a lot of people in this world, or maybe people on this podcast, that have the space to display whatever they want.
Oh, I see.
So I don't want you. You shouldn't really say it's the space. There's something wrong with all of us that we have to collect. That's just the truth. Don't deny it. I am acknowledging that I have a problem.
Oh, me too. I was addicted to plastic for a long time, and it was hard to get rid of that plastic.
And Cliff has the most willpower out of all of us, in my opinion, whether it's come down to selling stuff or whatever. But when it comes to substance, because I'm not just addicted to these toys, I'm addicted to marijuana, I'm addicted to alcohol, I'm addicted to tobacco, I'm addicted to red meat. I have all of these addictions that as a 44-year-old male, I know is not healthy for me, whether it be my body health or my material wealth or my marriage. But yet it seems like all of it trumps this shit. Like, I still have all this shit. I'm still smoking weed. I'm still smoking cigarettes. I still drink. And so, no, I'm with you, Lotus. Like, it's a fucking addiction, and I'm one of the worst examples.
No, Jason, you just have your priorities set properly.
Fuck my kid's retirement. Yeah, you see this vintage toy right here? That's your retirement.
But hey guys, I'm going to drop off only because my internet's lagging big time. I think my son must be playing a game and my wife's watching something. I'm just going to drop off and say it was great to talk to all you guys, and I'll catch you on the next one.
All right,
see you, Rock.
See you later, Rock.
Peace.
Yeah,
have a good night,
have a good
guys.
one, man.
All right. Bye.
Hey, Lotus.
What's up?
I can directly address the question you were just pontificating, if it's similar to an addict. As it made no secret here on this podcast, I am a recovering heroin addict. I've been clean for almost 12 years. there is literally no difference than the satisfaction of scoring dope or picking up a toy you've been hunting. They feel the same.
Yeah, that's what I kind of figured.
So that's what I do now. It's healthier.
Yeah,
but it's just like when you're in your deepest, when it's bad, and you get, like, let's say I pick up 5 bags. Okay, that's probably going to last me 2 days. The minute I get home with those 5 bags, I'm like, all right, when am I going to get the next 5?
Yeah.
You know, it's the same way. It's like, oh, I just picked up Duke, the G.I. Joe classified Duke. Great. When's Destro coming?
Right.
You know?
Yep.
So it's, I would imagine that we're all pretty similar in that.
Yep.
But it's identical as someone who's experienced both. Not to get too serious, not to get too dark, but it's very similar. You are correct in that assumption.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I've always figured. Like I said, like I haven't had that happen to me in a while, and when I saw those Micro Machines, I was like, holy crap! Like, for one, I didn't even know they were there. I didn't even know they were coming out, and number two, they replicated the packaging, so they have the Micro Machine. They replicated basically everything, and they even have some play sets. Like, I was just like, wow, there's a full toy line here that I had a lot of these as a kid. I had more Micro Machines than I had Transformers. And, you know, like the thing is Micro Machines was never even on my radar. I had no interest in even collecting Micro Machines until I saw them in the store. So something chemically happened to me that day, this past Saturday, that I was just like, oh my goodness, like, this is like, it was enough of a draw for me to grab them. You know, it was only 3 packs. I would have just collected the cars. And it was, you know, wave 1 just had the 3 packs, but I had them all in my hand. I made sure I got the mintiest cards out of all of them, and I was ready to purchase them. You know,
like, I haven't went on a toy hunt in a long time, and I'm assuming you guys still do this. I miss the hunt. I miss going like store to store to store looking for that elite guy or elite figure you're looking for. But I also get the same feeling when I'm out in a scrapyard looking through cars and finding car parts.
Mm-hmm.
I get that exact same, like, you know, that thrill and that adrenaline rush of finding that part or that car that I'm trying to salvage off of.
Yeah.
So, you know, it never really goes away. Like,
it never goes away. No.
You just focus it on different things.
Yep.
Lotus, I got a question.
Yeah.
What if you saw those Micro Machine cards and you purchase them, but you know you have a 90 days window to return them? So you just put them on the shelf for 90 days and just return them, and you got your satisfaction. And
I've thought about that, but the scary part with me is I do have this mentality of wanting a complete collection. So if I make a decision to collect Micro Machines and I make a decision to collect all of the blister packs, anything that's on card, essentially, not the vehicles, just everything that's on card, that to me is a collection of things. And the problem is I would buy that first wave of 3, and then I would see more, and then buy the next, and I think what would happen is I end up just saying, you know what, it wasn't, you know, they were $6.99 for each pack, so, you know, it wasn't too bad, you know, to get into the line, and the packaging looks cool and stuff, and I just feel I would never return them. Like, I feel I would keep them past the return date, and then I would be into this line kind of thing, you know. Especially if I wouldn't see wave 1 when I was, you know, looking for wave 2 or whatever. It would just take me down a rabbit hole, and that's why I've been so scared with Lego. Everyone jokes about Lego with me, but I'm super scared to buy any of those architecture sets or the Nintendo set that just, you know, that they just showed. And I found, I posted everything in the group on Saturday when I was there. I found all of the new Nintendo Lego sets, which are phenomenal. Like, I'm talking about the whole thing that was, they were street dated for August 1st, and I was there on Saturday, Sunday was August 1st. So, or no, it's today August 1st, August 2nd.
Saturday was.
Saturday was. Okay, so it was street data for. Okay, so yeah, but I mean, like, once again, I mean, it's a very cool world that they're trying to get you involved with. And if you buy the starter set, you've got the little digital Mario who plays, he plays the music and has the LCD on his chest, and then you can take that Mario and put it on that $200 set, the TV, and then because the $200 set doesn't come with the Mario, you have to buy the starter set. So what Nintendo wants you to do is they want you to get into the retail sets, and then they also want you to get you in the collector sets. And before you know it, I'm going to have this whole Mario freaking world, and it just gets out of hand with me, so I can't do it. I can't start. I can't buy just one, like a potato chip.
Exactly. Well, so let's we're going on here. We're gonna skip vintage versus modern, but what has you excited, Cliff, right now?
NECA. I just love everything NECA does. I love that they're making, it's kind of this weird thing that they're making realistic figures, versions of things that I had as a kid. Like I had Kenner's Terminator figures. Now I'm getting a real Arnold Terminator. And it's like, but sometimes it makes me miss like the toy versions of those characters. Sometimes I like an action figure based on a movie that's just ridiculous. He's got a cannon arm. I like toys. Sometimes a toy should be a toy, but everything NECA does is awesome. And I was just so excited when they put that Toka and Razar on a 1-week pre-order.
I saw that. That thing looks epic.
I purchased it. I'm in Illinois, so it went up on sale for me at 11 p.m. that night, and I had it in my cart and purchased by 11:02. I was like, I do not want to forget. It's only a week. I'm just going to do it now because he posted it. I think those figures look dope, and I just love everything they're doing right now. It's cool.
Well, and here's my sickness with that 2-pack is the shipping was the same on 1-pack versus 2-pack. So
you bought 2.
You bought 2.
Yeah, I bought 2 of them. So even though all I want is the fucking snapping turtle,
let me ask you a question, Jason. So what if you had unlimited money and unlimited space? Would that change your collecting? Like, would that change just like you said, you just bought 2 just to save on shipping? What if you didn't have to save on shipping? Like, would that change would that allow you to focus a little bit more?
Yes, it would.
Okay.
Like if I didn't give a shit whether.
Yeah, let's say you won the lottery and you had money is not an object anymore.
So the first thing that I would do is build. I mean, and this is what I've always been collecting towards is building a museum.
Right.
If I could get a brick and mortar 10,000 square foot space. I would display everything and let people come in and see it. If I never had to make any money.
Right, but you wouldn't buy multiple. So if you didn't have to make money, you wouldn't buy multiple figures to save on shipping or any of that stuff, right?
No.
Gotcha.
No. I bought multiples of that because just like the fucking Super 7 pre-orders, once they get delivered and people are posting pictures of it, people get all excited and they're like, where can I get one of these? And then they pay twice as much. Yeah. And that is literally what I'll hold that second pack for, unless somebody in our group or somebody in the podcast says, hey, I would really love to get that. Then I'll sell it to them for cost. That it's the same thing with Roger. I bought 2 cases of the classified figures and just speculating, hey, they'll probably be pretty popular. Roger wants a set of them. He'll get them at my cost, which is even below what people are paying at retail right now.
Have you got the Target stuff yet?
No, I haven't gotten that. I got you a roadblock, and then Peter, you picked up a beachhead for me, right?
It was Shane.
Oh, it was Shane. Sorry, Shane.
Yes.
Shane, my local guy. Got
Shout
me.
out, Shane.
Yeah, big props, Shane. That beachhead is for you, Roger, because I don't need the beachhead.
Hell
But
yeah.
people say, hey, what do you need? And I'll say this. All I want is the Cobra Trooper and the Baroness from that wave. So anything beyond one of each for me will go to you, and that's kind of how I roll is I'll buy duplicates of everything, but if somebody that I know or knows me from the podcast wants that at cost, they're going to get it at cost, So, but to answer your question, Lotus, if money wasn't an issue, no, I would buy one of each thing, maybe two of each thing if I wanted to display one in packaging. But for the most part, I would open it up, and in a 10,000-foot museum, it would get displayed in some diorama like Bobby Face is doing.
Right.
If I didn't have to worry about time, then I would build dioramas like he's doing, but
Okay.
I don't have the time or the money to do either of that. All I can do is order something and stack it up behind me,
Yeah. But I mean, you wouldn't, and you wouldn't have to worry about, like the FOMO. You wouldn't have to worry about that anymore, right? Because you would have unlimited money, and you could spend. Do you think you could ever break, the cycle of, getting a good deal? I guess the question is really for any of us. Like, if we were all like, we all won the lottery or whatever, and had unlimited funds, would that change the way we collect, or what would I wonder what that would be for us,
No, that's an amazing discussion point, and
Yeah.
let's roll with that.
Save that.
No.
Oh, you want to? Okay, yeah. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Fuck it. It's all about discussions. I would love more than anything in life to go to a grocery store, especially something like Whole Foods, and be like, I'm in the mood for crab. I'm going to pay $28 a pound for Alaskan king crab.
Right.
Because I want to have it instead of buying transocean fucking crab, but until I'm at that point, I'll do that. But if I were to have that money, that serotonin hit wouldn't be there anymore because I don't have to care about it.
I wonder,
buying the cheapest beer in the store. I'll buy the beer that I want because I don't have to worry about it. But for right now, while I'm on a budget, whether it's a budget, unemployment budget, or a budget of, hey, I'm a web developer and I make a pretty good living, either way, I'm still going to get a serotonin hit from saving 75 cents on a PBR as opposed to buying a Corona. I'm still going to get that same little hit in the back of my mind. Like, oh, I would love to have that beer, but I bought this beer instead and I feel good about it, So no, I appreciate that.
Interesting.
And so Cliff, what are your thoughts on that? Like,
I don't know if I enjoy getting a deal. I like collecting toys that I had as a kid that aren't really expensive. Like, I've been piecemealing a vintage Star Wars collection for years, just because I like it when I find one for a good price. And I have a living document on my Chromebook that's on my phone, that's on all my devices, that I just kind of X them off as I get them. I was at Walmart. I got the Han Hoth retro figure because, as far as I'm concerned, that's a retro Han Hoth figure. That's good enough.
Yeah.
It's like I just want to have a collection of vintage toys. I got a repro Yak Face for like $50, and I'm like, oh, this is beautiful. It looks exactly like Yak Face. You can't tell the difference. I know it's not the original one, but it's cool. I don't know if I had $500 to blow on a Yak Face, if I'd still do it. I like the kind of like Slick said, I like saving. You know, I've been collecting.
Yeah.
You know, Batman the Animated Series figures because they're really not expensive. I mean, they're about comparable. A 1993 action figure from Kenner is about comparable to a modern Hasbro Marvel Legend, and I'd much rather have the vintage Batman figure. It's cooler to me because it's what I had as a kid. I don't know how kids play with Marvel Legends. I have a handful of Marvel Legends. I think they're cool. I like displaying them, but I don't know how a child plays with it.
Well, and we got
so many goddamn joints.
Kids aren't playing with these things, right? Like their uncle.
Like, I don't know how you would.
Spider-Man figure, like, oh, $20. That seems like a lot, but whatever. They're buying them that Marvel Legends figure, but the kid doesn't give a fuck whether it's $20 or a 5-point, $6 figure. I mean, that's the whole thing. Is kids aren't buying toys anymore. I mean, they may. I mean, my daughter buys LOLs and this kind of shit, and I'm sure boys have their equivalent of blind bags and all that kind of shit. But a fucking 9-year-old kid with his birthday money in hand is not buying a Marvel Legends. They're not buying a Black Series figure. They're not fucking doing that.
They're buying Air Jordans and a new iPad and the next app and
some Robux
and Fortnite skins.
That's my daughter. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, my buddy from work, his kid, he gets birthday money, he immediately pumps it into Fortnite skins. Like, it's okay. Like that's what that was. I got a little bit of purchase. I was like, we're going to Toys R Us. This is 3 GI Joes with sales tax. Let's go.
I wonder, that's another good topic there. I really wonder what's going to happen with kids when they, let's say, kids now that are just so used to digital currency and buying things online. I wonder what the 40-year-old version of that kid is gonna like. I wonder what's gonna happen. Like, is it very easy because it's easy for people to spend money when it's not physically in their hand, and as we move out of actually having cash, and I'm sure one day there's not going to be physical currency anymore. It's probably just going to be all digital, and so I just wonder if that's going to cause more debt, or it's really interesting to think, because like you said, kids are playing games, they're gamers, they're living the digital currency, they're buying virtual goods, they're living in those worlds, so I don't know, I just wonder what's going to happen when they actually grow up.
Well, so what about you, AAA? That's a good question that Lotus proposed. Endless money, endless space. And
like unlimited, right? You were just saying like
unlimited.
A lot. Okay.
Unlimited.
So just to let you know, like I want to start a little something I collect, which is a vintage collection line, and they were all meant to be bought and open and play with. Okay, and I was gonna do like what everybody wanted to do, make a little diorama and then take awesome pictures with it. And since I was working 2 jobs, time flies, and then I'd start going back to my figures and going, hey, this been sitting here for like 7 years, probably 5 years or so. I wonder how much it's worth. Now money's coming into play. I was like, then I look on eBay, I was like, oh my god, this thing is like $275. This figure I bought for like $12 or 10. That now becomes money is more important now. Like, I can get a Soldier Gogan with this one toy. So money comes into play where I'm not willing to open this now. Now I want the money. So with that said, if I have unlimited money, I didn't care. Oh my god, I'll dig into all my collection and intend to do what is supposed to be doing with them, to make diorama and to do all the things I wanted to do. But because of money, it was intended to open at once, that is no longer to serve that purpose. It's being served to fund things that's coming out, the next SDCC exclusive, the whatever is coming out from Hasbro. So another sense, if I have unlimited money, boy, oh man, I mean, the craziest thing I would do, I would buy all the mint on box mass toys online and just rip them open, all of them. I'll buy all of those and goes like, hey, I didn't live through. I mean, I lived at that era when I had mass, but I didn't have the whole collection. I want the whole collection and make a whole scene out of this. And then when I'm done, I'll be like, let's see what else I can do next. I'm gonna find a flag in box at like an 85 graded, at least. I'll break through that grading seal and just open it up. That's what I will do with the money. I just, hey, talk about reliving your childhood, right? I'm doing it now that I couldn't. So I want to, use that money to do that. And I wouldn't buy like a Lamborghini or anything crazy exotic car because they're so expensive. Doing the maintenance is $1,800. Just fuck you. I'm not doing that. My friend has a Ferrari. He said he wants to live his dream. He made enough money, bought a used Ferrari F whatever. Who cares? And then he had it for 2 years, and he just like, I lived it. That's it. It's enough. It's taking a toll in his bank account. It's very expensive to maintain. Cars depreciate. And but he's glad he did it, and now he can move on with his life. So for that sense, I would do that. I would just like things I couldn't do in the past that I always money hindered. I would make a lot of people upset. Just buy all these million box stuff and just live it.
So your mass example is a perfect point in all of this. So so you'd buy all the masks. Now are you talking about the split seconds? Like
no, like from the very old, you got the Thunderbolt, right?
Remember,
Thunderhawk.
You wouldn't buy an entire series just because you had all the money in the world. You'd buy things that you were nostalgic for, right?
Yeah, I got that in boxes still.
Yeah.
See, because like I'm so afraid. There it is. Yeah, I'm so afraid of opening.
I got long mask in the driver's seat, and I got short mask in the passenger seat.
Oh, I don't even know which one I have. I have one over here, but anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, but like with import toys, like the most modern engineer, the most expensive. We're looking at about $700 for a DX Georgia Goken Voltus 5, which is coming out this December. That's roughly under $700. That's not something I would never be able to experience it. Like the sail barge, I wanted a friend near me who would open one of these so I can at least experience it. If I couldn't get to own it, something like that. With the money I can experience it, and I didn't even have to worry about selling it because I'll just give it to somebody who wants it, because I got money coming up the wazoo, right? So I think eventually, I don't know, would I get tired? That's the question. Would I just go, man, I've done this. Can I walk away? It's like, So I wouldn't know. Yeah.
Roger, what about you? Unlimited money, unlimited display space?
I'd probably just buy back my collection that I sold already. As the reference, like how I collected was basically what AAA was saying. It's like I had a couple mass things when I was a kid. I bought all the mass stuff that I never had, and I had everything, like all up until the laser command stuff. I had all that stuff just for the sake of having it because I never had it. Same with my G.I. Joe collection. Like, I had the flag. I loved that thing because I knew people that had it, but I never had it as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
you know, same with Transformers. Like I knew lots of kids who got like Omega Supreme, and when that first thing came out, I had that as well, and I set it up, and I was like experiencing and living all that stuff. So for me, collecting, like if I had unlimited money, I don't know what I would do with that because I'm over that now, right? Like, and had the space. Like, yeah, I would love to have all my old stuff back. That'd be great, and still be able to function normally as a person. But in the end, like, my focuses have changed. I would just buy a big piece of property and have a bunch of burnt out old cars sitting on it, rotting back into the ground. That to me would be, you know, the thing, and a bunch of old mini trucks sitting there, you know, turning themselves back inside out. So, you know, my focuses have changed. Like I've lived that thrill of collecting because I was at that point where I would just buy stuff till I had all of it, and then I'd be like, oh, you know, I'm bored of it now because I have all of it.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's the crazy thing too, right? Is you know, who collected G.I. Joe from 82 to 2004, 3, or whenever it ended? Nobody and I shouldn't say nobody, but
I did.
Nobody. You did. So you were collecting from 82 to 2003.
Well, 94 is when it first died, and when Sergeant Savage kind of swapped places.
I even had that stuff. I bought that stuff too because it was G.I. Joe. I bought Sigma 6 because it was G.I. Joe. I
had G.I. Joe Extreme.
Yeah, I had G.I. Joe Extreme because it was G.I. Joe.
I agree.
Okay.
I had a couple of those Screaming Eagle figures, but I didn't like the body proportions were a little strange.
Like their legs were too long and their torsos were too short.
Okay, well, I take it back. I just figured there was nobody out there that collected from the start of a line to an end of a line, or an end of a line break, or that kind of thing. But I mean, it's difficult to say when you have all the money in the world, what would you do? You know, like I think all of us would, like all of us has said, we'd buy everything. And we would do with it what we would see fit. You know, AAA is gonna, you know, do photography of everything. I'm just gonna set it up on a shelf. You know, Roger, you'll buy it back. Cliff, you'll fucking get the shit that you wanted. Lotus, I guess you haven't answered. I would say you're probably the person that's invested the most in all of this. What would you do if you had unlimited money? In a lot of people's eyes and a lot of people's feelings, if they followed you through this podcast, it's felt like you have had unlimited money and unlimited space. So what do you feel you would do?
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of components to this because, you know, this goes back to, you know, can you restrict yourself from spending money, whether you should or shouldn't, to collect a line. The interesting thing about me is throughout my whole entire collecting from, like I said, really hot and heavy in 2010, but, you know, really started collecting around 2007. I never shared anything on any of the social media platforms or, you know, anything like that. So it's just really interesting. When I look back at the pictures of the stuff that I owned and everything, I don't know. I like I said, I think for me, it just the addiction of wanting to buy something and wanting to have something that nobody else has, but there's always someone who has more than you. Because when I entered the statue world, you know, I was already desensitized of spending $300. So with those Iron Man armors, I was already desensitized with spending $300 an Iron Man armor, you know, And so that wasn't a big deal. So $300 was nothing to me to buy an action figure. It desensitized me, you know?
Mhm.
So then I hop into the statue world. I'm like, okay, my first statue was $500. I'm like, oh, wow, that's almost 2 Hot Toys. So that's interesting, but let's try it out. I get the first statue and I'm like, oh my God, this thing is freaking amazing. This is, I never posed my Iron Man anyway. So I'm like, holy crap, this is really cool. It's sculpted. It had mixed media. So, mixed media had some soft goods or those original Sideshow pieces that I bought. And the sculpting was really cool. The dynamic pose, the base, like all this stuff. I'm like, wow, this is like something different, And then I'm like, okay, so I bought a bunch of those at that $500 price point. I'm like, oh, well, there's something out there at an $800 price point. And then I bought that, and then I'm like, oh, well, those people buying Sideshow at $500, that's bullshit. It's nothing. It's $500 is like $5, $5. It's, you desensitize yourself as you go down this addiction rabbit hole. You just don't pay attention. You don't. I mean, I still have a list of everything I spent, but you literally, you're just desensitizing yourself as you go. So then, you jump, like my last few statues were over $3,000 each. That's ridiculous. Like, it's ridiculous it is stupid. It is purely stupid, but and so I don't know. I know that throughout this journey, I have lost more money than I ever should have with any of this stuff. I have a lot of knowledge now. I have a lot of street smarts in regards to collecting. I see people, I'm still part of like statue communities and stuff, and I see their excitement. I see what they're going through. I have a close friend, Brian, who's on the Six Scale Scavenger podcast, which, he's
starting to buy first Hot Toys.
Exactly right. He actually, he persuaded. Yeah, exactly. So you're gonna have your first Hot Toys, and it's because of that. But he's starting to buy statues now, and it's a thing where he started to I told him, I'm like, just be careful. Don't just jump in and buy statues just to have statues, because they're going to be harder to sell. They're going to be, there's always going to be a better statue. So, you can't, and then, the space that they take up. And so I'm just trying to, when I was talking to him, I gave him constructive criticism. And that's really how I laid it out. I said, listen, Brian, I'm going to give you some really hard facts here. And you need to just, this is my experience, and I don't want you to have a poor experience. I want you to be, I just want you to think of everything, because whatever we collect, it's always about our emotions. It's always about this chemical that's in our brain that's making us buy this stuff, and you want to make good decisions, but when you're collecting, you really can't make good decisions. You're not making smart decisions. You're making decisions based upon this nostalgia or the feeling of being part of community. I'll be honest with you, I have probably collected more because I've been on this podcast, and the social aspect of collecting and just being part of a community, that is also something that constantly drives you to want to be able to give your comments or your input on something, so all of this, it all goes into it. But I think that if I had unlimited money, I think I would still try to get the best deal for whatever it was. So if the item was $1,000 retail, I would still want to try to get it for, $700. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I would still want to try to get a deal, even if I had unlimited money. And I don't know, maybe that would change because none of us know what that feels like. We're, none of us know that. So, but I think I know for a fact that for me, I would have no interest in. I don't want to go backwards. So I have collected G1 transformers open. I've collected them sealed. I have collected retail transformers open and sealed. I've collected hot toys. I've collected statues, and I have a nice collection that's curated right now. And I don't feel that I would want to have the urge, if I had unlimited money, to go back and buy any of that stuff over again. I have photos of everything that I bought on day one. I have photos of it being in my display shelves. I have photos of when I sold it. And I have those photos backed up multiple times on multiple hard drives. And those photos are very important to me because photos have dates on them, and it just shows you it's my life in collecting. It's my history of what I have gone throughout these years. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how exactly to answer. Hopefully I answered it well enough, but I don't think having unlimited funds would cause me to do anything crazy and go back and recollect stuff that I sold, and that's it. I think I have check marked these boxes in my head of things that I've remembered as a childhood. I think like Roger, like Peter, like everyone said on the cast, that you want to experience this stuff even if you didn't have it as a kid. And you have experienced it. You have experienced being a mitten box G1 collector. I have had $1,000 figures that are $1,000 sealed. I have done the AFA thing. I have done AFA sealed G1 figures over $1,000. I've done it. I don't feel an urge to do that again. So.
Yeah, and I think that's a big thing, right? Is if you haven't ever done it yet, that's probably high on your list.
I agree 100%. And having unlimited money would definitely allow that, or just having a credit card that has a high limit as well. I mean, you could do it either way. I wouldn't condone that behavior, but that is something that some people could engage in it as well. So.
Well, that's what's going on right now, right? Is people fucking the collecting experience right now is a boon. Like shit is going for twice what it went a year ago, and because whether that's they're getting a government stipend or some extra employment or have some time on their hands, whatever it might be, like it's going crazy right now. And please don't base your expenses, your decisions to buy on the market right now. This is a bubble for collecting, whether people feel it is or not, but it is definitely a bubble for collecting right now. And don't invest your $1,200 government checks into action figures and shit, because it's all going to die down real quick, as we've seen the GDP go down 30% in one quarter. So
unless you want to spend that money, because it is fun to spend money, obviously.
Hey, I'm right there. I'm doing it. As I'm telling everybody not to.
So is this a thing about the hot toys? Like, you don't make your money back on those things, right?
You do. Yeah, you can actually make more money. And if you're the kind of person that's willing to part it out, you can actually make more money. If you get the figure right away and you part it out, you can actually make more money parting it out.
Because I made nothing on my Hot Toys. I actually took a loss on everything I sold.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. No, I mean it's pretty crazy right now.
I think
I'm still
it's
part of all those
timing.
groups. Yeah, it might be timing because a lot of these figures are I'm talking about figures that sold out or the pre-order sold out, and then the wait lists are all full, all that stuff. Like it's pretty crazy. Like I say, I'm very connected to that community still, and yeah. As of right now, at least, just like Jason says, as of right now, everything is really doing well as far as selling.
Can I give you guys one little advice about selling, since we all sell stuff anyway at some time? And is that if just look around, we all look social media just to see what's hot, what's in and what's not, So G.I. Joe is very, very, very relevant right now. It's in every single group. So therefore, G.I. Joe toys is very, very expensive for the classic. So let's think G.I. Joe stocks right now. It's up and rising, and all those people who are missing, it's free advertising basically. It's G.I. Joe is having free advertising. Everybody's gonna look for G.I. Joe old stuff or new stuff. And if you go to eBay now, you look at those G.I. Joes, like Rock just mentioned, they're going way skyrocket like crazy. So let's go back to, let's say, when Star Wars was relevant, when the movie was Force Awakens came back. Dude, that was the time to move Star Wars because it's free advertising. Movies coming out, everything's Star Wars. Just look in your room, find things that's Star Wars related, and that's how I unload stuff. I took advantage of whatever it's in. Like right now, Motu Retro Series, right? I think they'd call it. That's coming into play, right? So everybody's finding the Battle Cats and the wrestling that merged with the Motu figures. That's really, really big right now.
So, I found Skeletor. By the way, I did find Skeletor, and I'm gonna tell you guys, the card backs are paper thin garbage. Paper thin.
Oh, that sucks.
Paper thin garbage.
So you can if you have Motu of anything, this is free advertising again. Throw it on eBay if you're willing to let them go. Okay, so it's only when you're ready. But I know it's tough because it's relevant. When it's relevant, I have sometimes a little hard time because, let's say G.I. Joe right now, like if you ask me to get rid of some of my 3.75 ones, it's so hard. But they will go for a lot of money right now.
That's interesting as well, because so I have the G.I. Joe 2008 collection, and I'm very happy with it. I have no interest in selling that collection at all. But with that same token, I did not pre-order any of those new classic figures. Like I said, I feel I'm good with what I have, and I don't want to start another collection. So and the funny thing is I said this originally when I was, when I missed all of these G.I. Joe 2008 figures at Toys R Us, and now is my chance to collect the retro line again. Obviously, it's not going to say 25th anniversary, but it's going to be, vintage card, and all that fun stuff. And I'm sure that line's going to go crazy. They're probably going to keep on pumping those out,
Yeah.
But
because G.I. Joe has been on hiatus for a long time. When we were doing the shows, there wasn't any news about G.I. Joe for so long. And now the floodgate opens. Oh my God. And everybody is going nuts. And it finally helps to, like, for the Joe fans to finally get something new, and it's great. It's great to see it out again.
So for the retro 3 3/4 figures, do you think that they're gonna do vehicles and stuff? Like, do you think we'll get a flag out of that?
No.
Is it worth it for me?
No. It costs way too much money to make a flag, and it costs for us to buy it. G.I. Joe collectors, unfortunately, we're super fucking cheap about buying shit. We'd rather wait for it to go on
That's what I say about Transformers collectors.
than we ever would buy it full retail. So if they were to put a flag out, it'd be like $200 or $300 flag. People would be bitching about that. That's too expensive. I can't pay for that. No.
I don't know. So, but with this HasLab thing, I mean that could be a HasLab maybe. So, if this retro line
say so let's throw this out here real quick, and then we need to end the show because we're about 3.5 hours. But let's throw this out because we're all Joe collectors in one way or another. If they put a HasLab flag out for $900,
No.
Not a chance.
No way.
No.
okay.
Due to size too.
yeah, that's that's not just an investment in money, but that's like for me, I want to display everything. I love displaying stuff in cabinets. Even if it's something that's on card, I still put it in cabinets. That would be a hard thing for me to display because I wouldn't be able to put it in a cabinet. I mean, I could make a cabinet for it.
Lotus, it's a table.
Yeah, it's literally a table. I have
Table.
Yeah, everybody that owns a flag, it's on a table in the middle of their room.
Yeah.
I've never seen it displayed any other way. So yeah, you're exactly right. It couldn't go in a cabinet or it couldn't go on a shelf. But
well, I mean, it doesn't seem to stop the Star Wars collectors for the sail barge, right? Because that's that's not as big as the flag.
That's 3 feet, and we're talking about a flag would have to be.
It's 6 feet.
7
It's just
feet,
over
no,
6 feet.
6 feet.
Yeah, it's 6 to 7, and if you were to make it modern, because modern figures are 4 inches, not 3 3/4. You add, again,
It's huge.
It'd be 8 feet probably to make sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Exactly. So,
Well, take this in perspective. They re-released the Tomahawk as a modern era vehicle. Everybody clammed for it in the GI Joe community. We all want this vehicle to come out. We'll pay whatever you want for it. They put it out on shelves at $40 a piece. People flipped out.
yeah,
That's way too much money. I will not pay $40 for a vehicle. I'll wait till it
Really?
goes on sale.
But wait, the Tomahawk.
I bought
thought,
it immediately at first sight.
Oh, so did I. So did I. But a lot of people freaked out about it, and they're like, "That's way too much money for a vehicle."
But that wasn't vintage packaging. That was
No, you're
just-
absolutely right. It wasn't vintage.
It was ugly.
modern era.
It was an ugly packaging. Like it had bluish hues to it. To me, it didn't grab me. I don't. I mean, I know it had the GI Joe letters on there, but it didn't even have the GI Joe vintage coloring.
Is
for
this-
the letters.
Is this the Eagle Hawk that is on the
The Eagle
movie?
Hawk.
Yeah.
The Resolution, or was it Retaliation or something like that?
I think it was. What was the last one?
It was
Resin-
retaliation packaging, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a red and yellow, like explosion kind of
Mm.
packaging.
and there was the
I think it was the
Sky
40th.
Striker that was right before it, or
The Sky Striker, yeah, they released that too, and people freaked out about that as well. That's
Yeah.
way too much money, a $30 or $40 price tag.
and now it's going for $250 to $300.
Yeah, I sold mine for close to $200.
I have
Jeez.
3 of them because I have those Toys R Us 2 packs too, those 2 vehicle packs.
Oh,
Oh yeah, those will make money.
One came with the
You're
Gary
right.
Goggles figure. No, I'm not.
the Sightline.
Yeah, I think Sightline, was that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I got the Comic-Con one. So it got to the point where I didn't have any room for more Sky Strikers. So I kept them in their box next to the collection. Because I was like, I don't have any more room for Sky. Because the worst part about the Sky Striker, on a completely side note, is that the wheels are only down when the wings
Yeah.
are out.
Yeah,
It would work much better if the wings would come in and the wheels would go down.
but the modern era ones, the cockpit was detachable, so you could pull the whole nose piece off and make it actually smaller than it was.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, the vintage ones were all one solid mold.
They should have re-engineered the wing and the deploy of the wheels. They seriously should have, but they just didn't care, I guess.
All right. Let's not get too deep in the woods here. We've been
I'm a Sky
3.5
Striker.
hours of discussion. We've lost double-digit listeners on YouTube. But this has been amazing. This is exactly what I wanted the episode 200 to be. I wish Miss McFavorite might have hung on a little longer, but this has been incredible. I mean, this is really a fucking state of the union of collecting, in my opinion. We've got such a broad range of people that either collect or don't collect, or maybe are starting to collect again and not quite sure, and people that are done and moved on to other collecting. But we're all collectors, like Lotus likes to say. And I think this has been amazing. And hopefully people have taken away from this something. Maybe you're going to stop collecting as much. Maybe you're going to start collecting more. Maybe you're going to start your own podcast. Just really hoping that everybody found something in this podcast, and we'll be back with 2001, 201 with some actual toy news. It was crazy kind of doing this podcast with no toy news, because we've literally had the most toy news we've had in probably a year this week, this last 2 weeks. But we'll be back kind of intermingling that in. Hopefully by next week, everybody's find their Cobra Island G.I. Joe classified figures they need. But we'll see you bitches sooner rather than later.
Or later rather than sooner.
Yeah, everybody. All right.
Peace.
See ya.
Peace.
Fumble for the